the. Okay, thanks. So this is just a screenshot of the Google Doc worksheet that I'm using. And so just notice the bottom left, the total requests are $1 million, and we have 400,000 to get. Now,
Bottom right?
did I say left?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
We all watch Chris.
I've been challenged on that for a long time.
Just like,
So one update is the Afro Fab Fest. I got a text and email. I was out of town last week, but Ami, whose event that is, they're actually going to postpone it here. And so that is a massive request. On the sheet that Geo sent out, it had 300-something thousand. But when I really looked through the application at the different categories she was asking for funding under, they actually totaled the 187 rather than the 300 something. But I think we should discuss her application, but with the understanding, I'll clarify between this meeting and next to find out exactly, because it's depending on the dates. If they decide to have it next year, then you may want to go ahead and keep some of the requests for advertising for preparing to do the event. But or we might just zero that out, but we'll know that by the 10th of July. So that's overall is our challenge. And so the guidelines say that we're going to score the applications according to a set of criteria. Those, like several of the past, I think 5 years probably, that's been kind of informal, internal to each of our heads. We've done that scoring because there hasn't been this kind of mismatch of how much is asked for how much we have. And so since strategy and prioritization is more important here, we're going to go ahead and discuss. And as I said earlier, I'll kind of keep a master score sheet when we all agree on each category for each application. And then we can use that next time when we're really looking at the dollars that we might want to apply.
So is this for 1 through 7 or 1 through 10?
I'm gonna say let's do 1 through 10 for each of them. And we will we'll kind of weight some of them more than others. But let's run down the scoring criteria quickly. We have impact on overnight hotel stays, which by law is our primary objective. The application demonstrates professionalism with a sound business and promotional plan. There's this demonstrated capacity to host a successful program or event and to promote effectively out of the area. There's a diversity of revenues, i.e. when we look at that percentage, they're not asking for every penny for their event from this tax. We have received a final report from the previous year's event, and I can say that I have received reports. Some of them were in the form of the one of the attachment, you know, they have the economic impact and things like that. So I accepted those as reports. Then encouraging new events or activities and innovative programs. So first is the Crystal Art Show. One thing that I did have to ask clarity for the Crystal on both the art show and their second one, which their second one, which was the Big Bend Music Festival. The Crystal Art Show is the weekend of Art Walk, so they're asking for funds to do basically a competing event for an already successful event. The Big Bend Music Festival is the week of the Big Bend, so same thing. And so it's you guys are the deciders, you're the voters. My feeling is that makes their impact on the hotel stay 0.
They also already choose not to participate in either of those, which I think is a big red flag.
Yeah.
They decided not to
They
participate.
haven't participated in either of the others since the new ownership in 2016.
So if you all agree with that, those two, And then, you know, Geo has maybe one more set of printouts. And so
You want it?
maybe, well, you guys don't have them.
I
And so,
printed mine out.
Thank you.
Larry, how about I just sit over here and you guys can both review that way, because I think the professionalism and capacity, that we can tell by what she said. That's no issue. I'll move over there.
You have yours on there, right?
I'm okay.
Okay.
If you mind.
Do I need to make copies?
Oh,
You know, maybe
Do we have a
One-
tablet or anything?
I'm sorry.
if you have one more set of the,
If someone has the stuff, I'm gonna make a copy. Good. Right.
Here, let me see.
And I can just leave guys. So just one thing.
looks like you guys can share, then and that's one.
But I can make 2 sets if you'd like your own set.
Okay.
so, these, applications are like, all 3 of them are like the same, kind of, they're just, different information, but on this first one, she did not put that it's for art. She put music lovers, but she didn't say art.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's because it's Art Walk weekend, and so.
Yeah, but
their
it's called Crystal Art Show.
True,
I thought it was just because they didn't change it from the music application.
that may be.
Yeah, they didn't change it, but
That's what I'm saying, I think.
I'm professional.
Oh, yeah, I know, I agree. I'm just saying, I think that's probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some questions, about the professionalism as well.
Yes.
Does anybody want to toss out a number?
0.
Okay, now capability to put on an event. They do have a facility in which to put on an event. I mean, they certainly,
And they've done events.
they do
so that's-
concerts all the time, so they certainly can do that, but.
Yeah.
They have one of the best stages. It's unfortunate that they don't participate.
But would anyone like to toss out a number for the capability? Okay. Now let's look at their revenue picture.
They didn't put in a revenue on there. So like you said, how are they gonna come up with that money?
Yes, okay, so shall we zero that as well? Okay, the report is not applicable, there's not a past event for these two, we're just talking about those two at the moment. I would argue these are neither new nor innovative.
Mm.
Okay. Now hey. We've moved around because these guys are sharing a set of applications and Megan's making a new copy of the stack. I don't know if you need one. That works. Then, well, you guys will each have your own then. Okay, so we've scored the first two and we're moving to the third. Yes, you did, and I'm reading.
Will you go make a copy of this worksheet?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, I'll be right back.
You're gonna copy the course.
Okay, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, it's several ways to You're right.
Okay,
You got mine, right?
Okay.
You got mine. Yeah, no, I don't need it.
okay. So then, the next one actually is, an event that they have, is their own event. They're both-
I have a question, Chris. It seems like these are exactly the same events on some of the pages. Same number of people will be attracted. It's all about bands. Am I looking at something?
No,
That's
No,
incorrect?
you're not. It seems like she did really just kind of copy and paste. She made one saved as, said we want to do basically the same event,
3 times.
well, at least twice. So what are they asking for,
Same thing, money
motorcycle?
for vans, for
Yeah,
motorcycles.
but they're not, on the brief description of the funded activity, they're not stating about the motorcycle show either.
Let's see, okay, so the question on. The first question for the motorcycle rally, that was overnight stay.
Right.
And, what did she say? She said in their economic impact report, that in 2022, they had 181 one-day passes and 33 day passes. 2023, 200 one-day passes and 58 three-day passes.
So that doesn't tell you who stayed in hotels.
It doesn't tell you stayed in the hotel, it tells, so that's basically the motorcyclists that they attended. It wouldn't speak to who might come for a concert, but I would think primarily people coming from out of town will be coming to do the motorcycle thing. So she's estimating 200, so 60 is 180 nights. That's 380 nights last year in room nights. She's estimating. Or we get that, which is not nothing. We funded a lot less. in the
But you only get about $10 in tax off of the hotel rooms.
That's true, though we are not only funding to
Right.
recoup the tax, but it's true. But so with those numbers, does anybody wanna toss out a overnight stays number for this one?
How far did she branch? How far is she looking for the occupancy? How far out of town did she?
Did she promote?
Yeah.
El Paso, Texas, San
They
Antonio.
have a big, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have it in front of me, sorry, guys.
Oh.
It's getting copied.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
right here. Yeah, looking at El Paso, San Antonio, South Texas. DFW in the middle of this.
And she's looking to do newspaper, radio, and digital. Modest amounts of all three.
She didn't put any revenue on it. And will the Big Ben Biker Hotel be open by then?
It's open still.
It is, it's
There was no shutdown. They just transferred over
Oh, I see, okay,
operators, not even over.
oh,
There was no gap in service.
Is she operating that with Parker? What,
mm,
Biker Bar with Captain?
No, no, it's,
She does that, this is not her social Parker.
oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's one of them
Okay.
that they try, that they promote as a place to stay.
Okay.
But do we wanna suggest a 1 to 10 on overnight stays?
Maybe
Okay,
a 6 or
then.
6, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Professionalism, it's mixed.
She got used to all of
Five.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this business, the sound business and promotional plan is a question. I mean, she's, once again, we have funded far worse. She at least has a format
Mhm.
that she's filling.
Right, right.
So capacity to host a successful program or event, she has had one in the past. And
And
okay, diverse revenue, we really, I don't know, but we have to say 0 on 50.
Yeah, because it's very specific.
there's no,
She did include the report, I mean, at the end of the economic impact.
And we've never given her money before for it, so she doesn't.
That's
We have
true.
a slow copy report. That would be a awesome, thank you.
I think she's on digital, so
Yeah.
so they won't have to
You
share.
don't have to share. Oh.
And so then, new events or activities, innovative programs.
It's not new, yeah, they had it before,
Yeah.
at innovative.
Moderately, I mean, in
The
that.
only one doing it out here.
Exactly.
Well, there's the other huge one that goes through Carolyn. This is like,
The rider trail.
yeah, that's a lot bigger that comes through here. That's whenever you see like all the bikes that they get Riker Hotel and the Legion. Right,
Yeah.
this is a much smaller,
And the Legion does their own.
they sometimes, yeah, but the big one definitely goes through the area.
But it does seem like this is a market segment that they're addressing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not reflected anywhere else in our grants anyway, so they should. And so in terms of newness, that's not anything because it's not new, but that's not, if you've got a successful event, that's not a strike against you, obviously. In terms of innovation,
She's the only one doing it.
modest, but
Yeah.
what,
Big active green.
the next is the Family Crisis Center.
So Chris, just a comment, how do you include John Green in the discussion?
John speaks up anytime he wants to, right, John?
I don't know where it went.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Rick asked, how do we include you in the discussion? And my answer was that you speak up whenever you want to, but we do want you to whenever you want to, right?
Do you, but I just assumed that your last note that says, don't talk during this event was.
You're doing great.
I'm just puzzled why the descriptions, the only thing that changes are the dates and the amounts.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the descriptions are identical.
Yeah,
It's quicker that way.
exactly. It's quicker that way.
It seems like a lot of money for the same thing 3 times. But maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe that's what it costs to do each one.
Well, in that they're different dates, yes.
Right.
And so, John, when we are tossing out scorings for these different criteria, go ahead and jump in if you feel differently than the numbers that are coming up, okay?
By the way, I'd put 0 for innovation, but that's okay.
Okay.
I think
I
if
mean,
they
it's
have,
the same music festival that everybody seems to want to do.
I think if they had a better promotion plan, the biker rally could get more successful than it has been.
Yeah, and it's John, what John seems like he's pointing out is that while the event is motorcycle based, what they're asking us to fund is essentially the same thing. So that's a good point, Tom. On the cowboy dance, this one is one that in past years, we have discussed it not being a particularly large draw for overnight stays. It's kind of a legacy community support thing, where now we don't have to continue doing that depending on how it's scored, but that's what's happened in the past, just so you know.
It's connected with the cowboy poetry gathering.
No,
It, you know, it used to be,
It's not anymore.
it's not anymore. Now it's graduation is the time period. So it's basically a graduation weekend dance at the Crystal. That fundraises,
College?
yeah,
Oh,
it makes money for the family crisis.
yes, it fundraises
yeah,
for the
I know,
Crystal.
but.
So the cowboy dance, the cowboy poetry started doing their own dance
Mhm.
after their event, so that's why this is no longer, it's no longer for the family crisis center.
But for years and years it was, yeah.
Didn't we have objection to that having a bar as your graduation place? Did we talk about that?
We talked about it having a bar because it was for a family friend, like,
Right, it was just like, so conflicting.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
It's still conflicting.
Right. Everyone who goes home behaves well, right?
Yes.
After this dance.
You know, if this is correct about the hotel rooms used, that's pretty dang good.
140 hotel rooms rented for the night of the dance, approximately 300 people attended. That is less than we were estimating for the motorcycle rally, but as John says, it's not nothing.
You know, this is sort of one of those events where I wish I could just write a check,
Yeah,
because I think it fits perfectly with other things going on. And if these are paid rooms from tourists, 250 rooms in 17 and 240 and 18 and 263 and 19, and of course, nobody in 20. And in May, you can't count because who knows what was going on then. But this is always, I think, we always thought this was a pretty good event,
Mhm.
but ... I believe Ward 5 could probably afford this out of their petty cash. I'm in trouble, right?
So, well, let's, based on 140 nights, what would you guys give
Do
them
you
score
really think
one?
that 140 nights is correct? People coming specifically for that? I've never heard of it.
They're coming for the graduation.
They are.
They are, yeah, and we do.
And so let's estimate the impact on overnight stays. What do you guys think?
I think this is one of those things, people who are here are going to be pleasantly surprised by a good country band playing by their ear.
Isn't the question, are these the people that will stay overnight in the hotels that are directly related to this dance? That's the
We're
question.
speculating probably not. But we do have a 10 on the table.
I know, because I know the impact we had
Yeah,
from the seats, so yeah.
for the dance or for graduation. But there's the question.
I know,
So,
yeah.
so in that sense, the dance is probably hard to argue with 10, but certainly not a 0. So what do you guys think?
5.
5? What's the difference? Okay, professionalism.
Oh, that's a 10.
Okay. They have done this event many times.
And
Rhonda Cole's also pretty solid. You need to think of it that way, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That's capacity.
Pardon me.
Now, okay, one could say that in terms of revenue, they are getting support from the Crystal. The Crystal is providing essentially in kind. The Crystal does some advertising for the event, and also they provide the venue. So it's not a 0 on diversity of revenue, even though that's not dollars coming in.
I think you have a lot of local places that give in kind because they do that.
but she does have it listed on her budget. Sponsorships and
There
donations.
you go. She says, yeah, and she actually has a number, 57% is what she's
Ticket
looking for
sales.
from hotel occupancy tax. And that's way better than 0. So what number do you want to give that?
10.
She did provide a report. This is not a new event. I would argue it's not particularly innovative, but what do you guys think?
3.
Yeah.
3, 5,
I say 5. Yeah.
great. Yeah, one of the challenges with both these events that Rhonda has told me that she is a very organized and capable person. Marketing is not her strong suit. She usually winds up giving her credit card number to me, and I buy Facebook ads for them. And then, so I do
It
the
does say on here, we hope Chris will help.
right. So, yeah, I make the ad and
It should make the bank.
and target everything for them. Not something I do for every applicant, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. okay.
When we promoted like 4th of July as a whole this year is good, and
Mhm.
we can do that again, like on our website, we have a page that's devoted to 4th of July in the whole area right now. But so that's the page.
Yeah.
So I think that helps them, even though they don't pay anything for it.
Yeah.
To get more people
For
through.
sure, yeah.
Because we're tying their event with Fort Davis, it does bring fun
Yes.
for their.
Well, and yeah, and the Cowboys and the
Mhm.
Theater of the Big Bend and all this things that happen on.
At my Airbnb, we have some people staying for 3 nights.
Because they're coming for all the whole
Yeah.
weekend of it, yep. Yeah.
And so what impact do you guys want to give them in terms of impact and overnight stays for Alpine's 4th of July celebration? Okay. Professionalism, probably similar to capability with same person. Let's look at what she said about revenue, 69.11% is what they're looking for of the event costs from the occupancy tax.
She's got some sponsorship and donations and food sales.
So what number do you want to apply that? Did give her-
Also, this is a catch event. It's late in the evening. People are going to say, oh, heck, let's make sure we stay overnight after the fireworks.
Absolutely.
It isn't the whole event. I mean, there are parades and yada yadas and
Good point.
It's not new.
Yeah, it's not new, and it's not particularly innovative. But that's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's what people want, expect, yeah. Okay, and
So
moving
what
on.
would you, what did we give that?
Well, yeah, what do you want to give it for innovation? I put 0, but
Yeah.
it's, like I said,
Oh, yeah.
that's not, I would argue that newness and innovation, if they get high scores, that's something that's gonna be in their favor, but if they get low scores, it's not necessarily gonna negate that for those
Right,
two. Yeah. But then we're looking at do the Big Ben.
You know why they're asking for so, I have a question on Fourth of July. Do you know, did you talk to Rhonda? Why are they asking for so much more this year than what they have in the past? They just did ask for a lot more than usual. Advertising 4,000. That's probably like way more than we ever spent.
It is, and now this time. Like this year right now, they got more advertising money than they had actually asked for.
Have they utilized it?
Yes, in that.
The Facebook ad.
But she's also doing newspaper ad for Stockton, which is, that's new.
Right.
So she is branching out at least a little bit. But no, she hasn't said anything specific to me.
I just wonder if it's way more than.
But well, looking at how she's breaking it out, she
Right.
does a digital 500, and that's usually what we've done for them is a Facebook, Instagram campaign for 500. But she's looking to do 500 more for radio and 3,000 for TV, which I think is a good idea for Odessa. You can get a good campaign for that.
So do they have any money this year to get some footage, so they have something for TV next year?
That's a good.
Because otherwise there's not gonna be any video to give them to make a commercial. You have the drone guys do the fireworks. Yeah, but it's just, expensive. I mean, I've done it before, I just don't know what. Yeah. Well, we have some drone people, they can just give us stuff right there. The others won't pay.
It can happen. Okay, I'm making a note of this video question. Okay, so then back over to the Big Ben. So historically, I would say Viva is one of our 3 biggest events of the year. Cowboy Poetry Walk to the Big Ben.
keep it on the bed.
So I would suggest overnight stays is probably a 10 unless we're. I would put the same for professionalism and capability unless it disagrees. Same for diversity revenue. He is great at getting, especially out of town sponsors where everybody is tapping the same. Big Ben telephone, hospital.
He gets big money from, yeah, other places, other people's money, right?
Opium.
He did provide the report. It's not new. It certainly was innovative when it began and I would say that in terms of like music festivals, it's still.
It's still innovative. We
Yeah.
talk about it every time we talk about it, yeah. We say this is not like a normal music festival.
I think you need to give them big points for innovation because if you just took them separately, none of the rest of these events that do bands, with the exception of Art Walk, that they wouldn't be here without the success of Viva Big Bend. You know, they were the first ones to come and say, hey, we can do a big time music festival here. I think it's reasonable to keep that in mind.
What number do you want to give Viva for
I'd give them
innovation?
10. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Anybody disagree? Okay. Then we'll move on to Spirit of the West, which will be entering their 3rd year this time around. is,
I think, let's see.
they estimated 1,008 attendees. And 541 attendees to the concert Saturday night. But he would have a,
I would argue there's not much else going on at that time of year in April.
so,
A lot of time.
yes, so in terms of impact, give it a 10. Okay. Professionalism,
Well, I don't give her a 10 because it's not professionally typed out like these others.
But you can read her handwriting.
Yeah, but to me, professionalism is, yes. It's the other way.
Didn't this event just happen?
Excuse me?
Yeah, the end of April.
I wonder
Yeah.
how it did. I don't know.
I would, personally, what,
I just wanted to provide some community feedback on the appearance of the event.
please do.
Some of the shop owners weren't happy that they weren't contacted and their businesses were blocked from having regular.
On 6th Street.
Yeah.
What, the boutique? They were about the only ones that weren't included. And like, the other ones were being used for.
Yeah, but they weren't notified or.
Right, one was allowed, one was.
They weren't notified and they did reach out to me. Trying to fix that. At least have a detour so that they can go to the shop without having to pay to get into the. We addressed the trash issue from the year before. TDS couldn't get through the alley to pick up the trash for all the businesses. That was addressed.
Thank you.
I would argue that shop saw more traffic than she's ever seen it in the. I agree with that. Right, but like, I mean, it's, they never would get that much traffic. And it's the, what is it called?
Pink
It
day.
was the pink. It was pink though, now it's, yeah, Chica's, boutique.
But it's an old Holland.
Yeah.
One that people want to.
I just don't, she doesn't normally have a picture.
But she wasn't notified.
She missed the signs all over. Yeah, I mean. Kind of right in her neighborhood.
I would hesitate to penalize somebody for using a pen. Personally.
Well, I penalized everybody that used a pen. So I got penalized her and I give her a 6.
Well, it has to be consensus, so.
I would give her a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I like that she has a lot of information. And like some people might type it out, but it's cut and paste, so at least she.
took time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just fill all this out, that's. Super scary.
Well, and her budget's tight because like, it was the application that she probably, you'd have to do the file converter to the other side.
Yeah,
She also added, under her promotional efforts, she added some categories on there, so.
Right.
She added more. efforts.
yeah, and she actually does good advertising.
Yeah, and in terms of, well, let's look at it, this way. We have 3 different categories under professionals. And so we could say it's not as polished a presentation.
Like where she gets.
And that's
on the rest.
totally true. Now, in terms of the sound business and promotional plan,
Yeah.
that's she
That she is.
yeah. And especially, yeah, it's above and beyond 99% of the application.
I will say that somebody walked up to my tent and said, we came to this because you told us about it at the state fair.
So I think it's coming point.
No, I'm just saying like that like actually shows that, yeah, I'm sure that, you know, we have people, other people that came here after we talked to the state fair, but that was like a direct thing where the lady was actually, I didn't actually talk to you, I talked to the guy, I was like, oh, that was my husband. But, yeah, they were like, once we knew we wanted to come and we heard about this event, so that's what made us decide to come this.
Yeah, and I would suggest that speaks to innovation because they saw that possibility. They came up with the idea that was gonna appeal to people.
I think that the vendors are already realizing how unique this is because they're finding out immediately from like a festival promoting Texas producers right here where is, you know, for sure. It's that we need to have more people that, we need to draw more people to it, but the producers know that it's got potential to grow huge.
So,
It's a good time of the year.
so across,
But professionalism, are we talking about how the people organizing the event are carrying themselves throughout town or throughout the event or like in real time?
you know, that might be the capacity part, the capability to successfully host the programming event. Whereas, the professional is more about what the form and the content of the application.
Okay, all right.
And the second one would fall.
She did a nice job on her budget.
So across those three things, professionalism, business, promotional plan. What do you want to
Sorry,
do?
sorry.
No.
Capability, you can.
Yeah.
But we're still on the professionalism, town business. and-
Yeah.
I don't have a vote here. I'd give her a 10 because it's above and beyond and all this other
Yep.
things.
I agree. The voice in the sky agrees.
Thank you, Sky Voice. Okay, so then capability. And that does raise the question that Megan brings up in terms of community relations. Yeah. But we do know that, the Art Walk nonprofit is capable of hosting a successful event and promoting effective together here. This is true.
It sounds like a few pickups.
Yeah.
It could also just be somebody that knows that, because they didn't happen to notice that sign that were.
We have the trash, the trash too.
Oh, that was last week, yeah, but yeah.
But they'll fix that.
But I think the problem was that they did, and they didn't.
But they could.
They could, but they didn't try to come up with a solution.
Maybe even the haters.
Yeah, you know, I gotta.
Having some issues.
Yeah. And to resolve them on the spot is pretty important. Otherwise, that you're giving them their capability.
Yeah.
That was an 8.
Guys all right with that?
Yeah.
Where did this area of the West thing start?
It was here before that, yeah. This is the third. 39% is what they're asking for their budget, so that sounds like a 10 on diversity.
They have lots of sponsorships.
Yeah, they did, they work really hard to raise money.
It's in the worksheet. All the spots.
It is no longer new, but as we discussed, there's innovation there.
Yeah.
What number do you want it?
Perfect. I feel good.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing else really like it. Exactly. Nobody's trying to do anything else like it.
Yeah, in other towns, they do have it, but like that is very.
Yeah, and I know they definitely went to several different ones doing some of
Yeah.
the market research projects. The next is art. Yeah, exactly. And that's absolutely what we need. So overnight stays for Art Walk, professionalism. It's kind of the same picture. Then what about capability? Are we the same people doing this? So that's it.
And there's not been many pickups on this at all. So we leave it in. Yeah.
You want to put 10?
I don't know. I think she's carried it out really smoothly
Right.
and haven't heard any, any pushback.
Yeah.
They had the same situation on diverse revenues. They do have a report. It is not new. It certainly has been innovative, and even though it's 30 years old, the when they started it and the fact that they grew it, it's not new to Alpine, but it's still, they developed an institution.
Right.
You're integrating.
Yeah.
They're actually the longest running art festival in the state.
Wow.
You know, again, this is just like Viva Big Bend. If you didn't have Gallery Night Art Walk, maybe you wouldn't have anything else. I think innovation's an absolute 10. And
All right.
I don't see how it could not be. Nobody does a better event than these people.
Well, and then they're the ones that can, the money raised from Art Walk has commissioned so many of the murals that bring people every single day, right, straight.
Excellent. Okay, so now we're looking at Museum of the Big Bend. Now, the museum has 3 applications. They also did last year. They have the general promotion for, just for the museum in general, and then all of the shows except for Tropics of Texas, they separate out Tropics of Texas with its own request. They also have National Endowment for the Humanities grant that they're looking for matching funds.
I thought
They did, but it's still good.
they keep giving money
Yeah, they can, exactly.
every year.
I don't know for how long. I guess till the project's done, because when they're opening the new building this weekend, and once they finish that, then they go right into the kind of refurbishment of the historic building. And that's what that's humanities grant school. But first off, we're talking about the museum in general.
Largest drawing of Alpine. How many rooms do they have?
That's a zero.
Yeah. But it's a draw to Alpine, like one of the things that someone might do, they might not come directly for the museum, but they're like, what are we doing in Alpine?
It's something that I suggest to guests. The museum is for one thing.
So
The impact of overnight stays that we have to look at, there's nothing.
Well,
That particular.
there are events throughout the year.
Right.
They do have, they have their
Trappings and all
opening,
that, yeah.
not just traffic. So
Right, yeah,
this event represents, one, the 365 essentially, potential of activity in town, like John was mentioning. Now, it's not nighttime. So it's by so far from 100%, it's not gonna hold anybody for that. But between the museum and honestly Holland Avenue, which is where people work, that's a day that people spend. And that, you add those 2 together and you've got enough. Depending on how they plan this trip. So you're right, it's not, that part is not a 10 for impact, but the fact that it's every day of the year, as opposed to giving, okay, so it's a trickle of impact every day of the year, whereas the Big Bend is intense impact for 4 nights.
Just as a side, when are they closed? Saturday, Sundays or Saturday?
Sunday, Monday. I dread Mondays in the visitor center because I do not have that to send them to. And half the stores downtown are open. It's the worst day.
So that whole walk on that street is a
Yeah.
it comes to those.
It's one of the only things that suggest intent. When people are like, you know, I'm only. That's why I was really happy that like Heidi added Monday tours at the classroom. They're like, it's something I can help people do when Cowboys baseball's going on. It's a lot of times on Monday nights. So those are like, "Whew, I can tell them something."
So
I'm okay.
Even like 3 or 4.
But I think it's also the strategy open more
Yeah.
with the new addition, their hiring cycle. That was something that they just started to about. They already.
I'm okay with the 3, yeah, me too.
Okay, professionalism.
10.
9.
9.5.
Yeah.
Okay, capability.
I'm sorry.
Okay, diversity of revenue. Yeah, they're asking for 10%. They definitely gave a report. It is not new, it is certainly unique. Yeah. Yes. And they have a brand new building.
They're gonna be able to hold events. It has been.
That's true.
That's gonna be a bigger impact on those.
Okay.
They haven't decided how many.
Given, well, given, that's an excellent point. Given that they now have a new event center, do we wanna revise the 3 for overnight?
I would like to revise it because I think that a town that doesn't have these triple value additions, like they don't promote ongoing tourism in the future because like I don't go to New York just to go to the MoMA. I go for other things, but I go to the MoMA, and it's like part of the experience. I might stay on today because of it. But it's not like I went there just to see it. Like it's just part of it.
I think it's
I-
also like you were saying, Chris, how we can't expect an event to necessarily bring in as much hot funds as what we've given them, but this is an ongoing thing
Yeah.
that's giving hot funds.
It's high value.
I think that as you're going down there past, I think those have more impact on the overnight stays in the hotels than just the, oh, it's there if you want to see it. Things. So it's, I'm still comfortable with the 3,
Me
but
too.
it's just. It's,
We've never had anybody come to any of our Airbnbs and then telling us what they're coming for. They mentioned, you know, the big meeting. They might go there if they get here, but I don't think they might.
yeah, and for trappings and the other stuff, yeah, absolutely. That is the overnight books, multiple nights.
Well, when I talk to my guests, I'm like, what brings you to Alpine? They say, we're just exploring the Big Ben. And the museum is part of that, for sure. And it's like our job as host hoteliers to inform them about the offerings of our city, which would definitely be a high value place.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say this was the second largest destination in the Big Bend? You get the park and then the museum.
I don't know, because you got the other parks.
Yeah.
So after the parks,
Park, after
you know, let's list all the parks and then you can get to the museum.
Yeah.
Like in the observatory, that's definitely more than the museum.
Oh, yes, the observatory, thank you. Can I ask a question, please? Is this a one-time request for renovation?
We funded similarly last year as matching funds, and so it's finite, it's gonna end. I imagine this is probably the last one for the renovation. But I can't say for sure because we did one last year.
Depends on how big their loan was.
Right, well, they've got like $700,000 that they can get from the endowment of the humanities that,
750.
yeah. So I personally, between that trickle impact and the 3 different weekends of receptions that they'll have for events, I give them a 10, but not.
I feel like a 7 for them, just because. But I feel like a 10 too, because I think it's the highest value offering that's worthwhile to put friends for.
So, okay, John, what number would you give them?
I somewhere around a 9. I think it's important that we support this.
Okay.
You know, it's like we should, it's like March of Dimes. People come to see this, and from that hillside, they see everything else. So they
John,
they stay, oh my goodness, there's more to see in the museum. So
for sure.
I just think it's important, really important.
John's got a 9, Susie and Karen 3s, and then.
I'm gonna go to 8 then.
Yeah, you know, it's just because
Still on.
she got NA,
We're just the museum in general throughout the
on her
year.
report, she got NA for occupant, she got NA on night stays.
That's when.
And on the tapping, she's got 2 to 3 nights, but on this one, she's got NA.
That's because that's an event, and this is funding.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying.
I'm seeing, do you reserve a room block? Is that the question? Because that's a different question than the night stays. Then how many nights?
We do then, first it says they don't have data on
Yeah.
how many guests are drawn to Alpine.
I really think that every tourist that comes to Alpine says, oh, let's go up to the museum and then go to lunch. I mean, it's just part of being here.
I agree.
A very high.
After Lingua.
What's your number for impact? Just-
I don't think anyone comes here specifically for it, but I do think it is a huge value to the people that do come here, so I would be okay giving it like 6 or 7.
Okay, so we have 9, a 3, a 3, an 8, a 5, and a 7.
Average it out. I did, it's like 7, 6.
There you go.
Upper 6?
Upper 6.
Okay, so that's
That is some.
I was using my calculator.
Well, what was it? 6 point what?
If it's a buck, 7.5. 3 plus 3 plus 9 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8
6.
divided. It's a high 5.8.
Okay,
So that's why I said 6.
I pointed. Thank you all for your patience. Okay, so now we're moving on to, wait, yeah, we did all that. Other.
Yeah, we
Okay. Now we're looking at the renovation request. Now, this one is historic funding. That doesn't mean it doesn't apply with the overnight stays, because supporting the hotel industry is the first requirement of the law, then the rest. So this is, as we talked about, it's to renovate and expand the historic building. Do we feel that since it's the same structure, it would be the same impact? Okay.
Which one is that? This one.
This is the one that.
First, second.
Doing the second one.
It's number 10, museum.
Renovation.
So
Okay.
5.8 for overnight stays. Professionalism,
Why would you make it any different than what museum it is?
that's a good point. So should we just take it the same?
Yes.
Okay, great. Time saving there. Okay, so trappings,
Now that's an event.
that is a specific event.
I'm sorry, are we moving on to trappings?
We are moving on to trappings because it seemed like, unless you disagree, that we were gonna carry the same numbers forward from the museum in general to the expansion. And so,
Trappings is- Boy, I think trappings is really special and it brings big players who talk a lot about how wonderful it was in Alpine.
It has a huge,
And I don't know how you can quantify that sometimes.
lots of outside money.
Lots of 10.
Yeah, lots of, I'd say,
Like
absolutely.
it's in a way across.
Yeah.
right then. I'm not gonna give it a 10 for new unless you
No.
insist.
No.
But you're welcome to insist. Yeah, they do. You're right.
It is the largest trapping. Yeah. Anywhere.
They have other.
And it's the longest running.
Yeah,
There's other traffic.
other places. They actually saw it at a different poetry gathering, and that's how they decided to start it. Mary and Gary Dutchy.
It's the best place for them.
Yeah.
Last to the west.
There's a whole part of the big venue how it started, it's like, listen, I talked to Mary for a long time.
Okay, so moving on to the Sil Ross College Road Theater. Our overnight stays.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, professionalism,
It's typed up, yeah.
capability.
10.
Okay, and I would say, yeah, 17% is what they're asking for. They did give me a report. I had asked them a couple times, did you guys? It is not new. Innovation, it's, I would
He
say
is
it's,
innovative, he got him on the cowboy
that's
channel.
what I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
that's huge. And we know exactly how many people pay to watch our commercial.
That's huge.
Yep.
Yes.
So, Fall Festival, 2023, Our Lady of Peace.
And they just had their guys one event, their whole rider just won the national.
Oh, really?
Final. Cool, that's big, it's amazing, especially the one again.
Okay, what estimated number of individuals will your proposed marketing reach? She put it at 3. I think she might not have realized what we were. They say they expect 2,000 in attendance. I have not been to the fall festival in a while. It's been quite a few years since.
It was very quiet last time, yeah, that's.
Yeah, I would
Really,
say
from it was like.
a community event.
It feels to me like a community event, but that doesn't mean that families don't come from out of town.
But
they
the
do.
families don't
They do.
stay in hotels, they
Do
stay
they
with their
stay in
families,
They stay with family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
that was the impression that I got.
Yeah.
from everybody. That was.
so what number would you guys assign for overnight stay? Impact on overnights?
5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a bunch of 2s and a 5. We're
Sorry, it's.
Good.
good with that. Well, between twos and fives, so does that bump us up to a 3?
Three, sure, sure.
Professional,
It's
this one's shaky.
This would, yeah.
better than last time. Maybe she'll have a better one next year.
We've been the last year.
Oh,
Ask for money for this. They didn't ask last year.
They didn't ask last year.
Oh, was then it was year before, because we sent it back, didn't we?
That was a different one. That was the people starting the multicultural festival. which was-
Oh,
So that was 3 years ago,
Yeah.
because they used to.
Yeah,
yeah.
this has not been asked for since they just brought it back for the first time last year post-COVID.
Yeah.
Was the first one they had since 2019.
And what we, that's it.
Oh, sounds like they just need to get funding from local vendors. And like schools like have a raffle and
she has
sell
no,
cookies and.
Yeah, and they didn't have much of that at all this year.
Urban just filled it out on behalf of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's not a she, it's the Catholic Church puts it on.
Oh,
Yeah.
they don't have.
the.
I think the diocese probably has.
The fund, yeah,
That's okay.
the finance council puts it on.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
impact and overnight.
Yeah, we're at 3.
Three,
Until we
okay.
compromised on the 3.
Okay.
Now professional, the number you want.
you were. I would say 2 or 3.
2, yeah.
Capability, now they've done an event,
Yeah, but it was not good.
but you, okay, so
But they've done it before and it's been good.
the other
They
question,
have the capability.
right, so there's two capabilities here, and unquestionably, they can put on an event, because it's a tradition, an institution.
Yeah.
Now, promote effectively out of the area is a whole other.
I think that they are over, the money they asked for to promote out of the area, I don't think they would have any idea how to spend that kind of money.
I
Don't say that.
No, they asked for $5,000 in TV ads and free ads.
Well,
That's,
yeah, but you can't say that though.
right, but who do they have that
Well,
do that kind of marketing? Right?
Well, we don't know, but you can't say that. You can't say that about people.
Based on history, yeah.
Yeah.
When they've only ever promoted locally, that's a big jump. They
Let's
can't-
just say, it's a big question as to
It is,
whether they'll
but
be
yeah,
able to.
but you know, you never know.
And historically, let's just say, when we received funds in the past, I have not seen much action in terms of the out of
Have they
town.
received funds?
It has been a while, but
But
yeah, like 5, 6 years ago, probably. They got
It was a different person that was filling this out then.
Could have been.
She was not the president of the finance committee then.
No, but she was definitely involved, because I remember meeting with her to discuss it. So maybe not the finance committee, but maybe she was the event manager. She was still a mover for sure up there. But what do we want to say about capability?
About what?
The capability, so we're averaging out this question that we know. What?
No idea.
Because we know they can put on an event, but we're not convinced about the other.
I'm concerned about their capability when they ask for that much advertising. Like, to me, that means that they probably don't know anything about it. I think that they would have to put that much. Makes me think they're not capable. Because of that aspect.
Okay, so that, but that's,
Right.
okay, yeah, that's where we're at, is that fine, everybody's okay with that.
Yeah.
Now diversity of revenue, they say 25% is what they're asking for. But do we have a budget?
Well, if that's 25%, that whole budget would be like over 100 grand.
It would, and
Very expensive. I would expect a huge event. for that.
If they really have $400,000 total.
okay, well,
You're asking for 30.
yeah, well, actually, that's not accurate, because we do have total event budget, including popcorn. What we have for budget is one number, $50,000. They're asking.
So they're asking for 30,000.
Yeah, so that's more like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, that is diverse, and we have a similar percentage we have given the town, so. There's no, See what they did. Okay, estimated attendance last year's, okay, they booked 8 hotel rooms for band and DJ. She said they had an attendance of 1,000 people for both days, no indication of where they came from.
Who played on Saturday afternoon, because that was jam. It really was. Sunday? Not as much. I don't remember who played, but it was, was it? They were really good at that.
Okay,
You can get up the road.
that is a report, though, so we'll
Yeah.
give them credit for that.
Yeah.
It's not a new event. Is there any?
If they're expected attendance, 1,000 people, so only 100 of them are usually held.
My apologies, but are we talking about the rodeo?
No, we gave the rodeo bunches of tens and we moved on to the Catholic.
I apologize. Could we go back to the rodeo for 1 second? And I'd like to point something out. I think that's extremely important. If you look on the very first page, how will the funds be used? That line should get us all standing up. That's 20 hours of television. Okay, the Cowboy Channel's not very big, but you never know what will happen. And that's, you don't pay for 20 hours of television production with this budget.
Yeah,
You know, that's huge for Alpine.
it is, and it's paid per view. They know exactly how many people, it's like 210,000 people or something last year.
Yeah,
It was
so-
more than that, the first number.
And it will only grow.
Yeah.
Some people paid to watch it way after.
It
the
did like
actual event happened.
300,000.
And then they see the Alpine commercials again then, so it was, City of Alpine commercials, Small Ross commercials, Out West, Old Gringo, it was, he had to get them together pretty fast, so it was like people who already had something in the can, basically, that they didn't put on there.
Yeah, completely agree, John. That's why they got a 10 for innovation, even though they've had this rodeo for so many years.
They're the,
Sure, absolutely. And this is a perfect venue for these other folks to advertise on.
that's what I said for the next one.
Did you
For the
just say that? I apologize.
No, Chris and I had that
No,
conversation earlier.
yeah, Not at this meeting.
Not this meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of experience in television and small events and it's just amazing how fast it will grow and what it returns.
Well, thanks, John. So our last,
Sorry about the interruption.
not at all. So for the fall festival, our last number is innovation. Do you wanna?
It's always the same.
Okay.
So 0, and
Okay.
call it out here, it's really not. Don't have to, you know. Come get out of here.
Yeah, but there's.
We want to be excited about fall.
But there's colorful leaves on the table burners.
There you go, yes.
So what did we do for a report?
They did have a report.
So that was a what?
That was a 10. It's a one or a 0 or a 10. And everyone did get it. Okay, so then Big Bend Ranch Rodeo.
Hold on,
I'm sorry,
isn't this only a 2-year project so far for them?
the bazaar.
No, that's what
That's
it's
what
in
she was.
2020.
That's what she.
They do it every other year.
Yeah,
How
but they've been
many
doing
years?
it.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that building was built in the 30s, so probably since then.
The first few festivals that they had, they would raffle cars and it was really huge, really huge. But, you know, poor management of the festival. And so it has just trickled down to you.
Yeah, most nights in Columbus do a raffle a car every single year, all over the country, that's like their thing. Yeah.
And a lot of us left.
I think it's one of those things where like the people who are so involved are dying off.
Yeah,
I guess that's just what I meant to say.
Yeah, you said left.
I said left.
I was just planning. Yeah, I think that's exactly what hit.
Yeah.
And then the new generation doesn't want to do it.
When we suck, we don't want to do anything,
Yeah.
you're right, yeah.
Really.
I'm not a blame, but.
Okay, well, the next one is Big Bend Ranch Rodeo, which historically has been one of our top 5 probably. They estimate 1,500 spectators from outside the Tri-County area. And they also have about 150 competitors and their families from out of the area. What do you say for overnight stay?
10.
Okay. look at whether they typed this application.
Oh, they did, they let it stats when did what?
Now you started to
Lots too, yeah.
Okay, so what's our professionalism?
Then,
Okay, and capability?
and
Let's look at their diversity of revenue. I think pretty good.
they get tons of
43%.
function, yeah.
They wouldn't strictly be required to do an application because they did not apply for the last couple of years, so they don't need to provide a grant report, but they did provide their economic impact. It is not new. What do you think about innovation?
They started something new. It's mentioned down the page a little bit. This is the second year that they're hosting the youth ranch rodeo alongside this rodeo.
Okay.
And that actually qualifies kids for a spot in Amarillo, which is a huge deal. So they've added something new to it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They added it last year and then they'll do it again this year.
You know, I think they're trying to grow and I applaud them, but I look at the amount of promotion that they're doing and I compare it to the Sul Ross Rodeo.
They don't have to do a lot of promotion because they automatically get promoted by the professional, because they're a sanctioned rodeo. So they get included on everything that I can't remember what it's called, Chris, because I know they told us once. Yeah, the Working Ranch Rodeo Association, whatever. They promote them all year round because it's one of the sanctioned rodeos.
And how does that help Alpine?
Because it gets people to come to the Alpine one.
It doesn't seem like that to me. I apologize, but it doesn't.
It does.
That's a broad brush where Sul Ross Rodeo is a small arrow aimed right at the heart of what they're doing. That
You know, John,
when they do the broad brush advertising, they're advertising for everyone else, not just us.
the equivalent, I would suggest, would be, the NIRA. Is that it? The College Rodeo Association, their calendars and such through the year, they're one in all these different participating colleges. And that is how the people who actually come to that rodeo. Now, the Cowboy Channel is a new total game changer for Sul Ross Rodeo, but up until last year, they were advertising exactly the same way the Big Bend Ranch Rodeo is, which is through those calendars. So people who are into it find the dates and they go to the ones they want to go to. And so that does work to the tune of 1,500 people.
It's a circuit too.
So, yeah.
Do the circuit all the way out to Wyoming and back and stuff. It's a huge draw.
Now, so in that sense, John, it's a successful formula. We're not seeing innovation in terms of how
Right.
they're,
Exactly. I guess that's what I'm saying.
so in that sense,
But they're really the only ones that can get promoted this way.
exactly, that's
So
true.
I think that's pretty innovative.
Yeah.
They're on that.
Well, and like Chris and I talked about, this would be an opportunity for them in August, if they can get somebody to do something to put a commercial into the Cowboy Channel
Yeah.
in September when Sul Ross runs
Yeah.
run again.
Have they talked about that? Because that's a
We
great idea.
need to talk
Yeah,
about,
we have to-
we need to talk to them. about it.
But we will. So, John, you make a good point, and when we're looking at how we're gonna use the advertising dollars, that's something that can be part of that discussion. For the scoring, I think we're solid. But that's a nuance we wanna remember.
I think that's a conversation with Mr. Ruggia.
No,
I have
asking
those
just for
all the
sports
time.
events money. They're not asking for any promo money, yeah.
Okay, so are we okay to move on to the Coconut?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Alpine ISD's Coconut Field funding request as distinct from the Sul Ross Coconut Field.
And the Cowboys asked for coconut money.
There you
None
go.
of them is about which field.
It's all the
same
It's all the same field, but see, the field is used by, well, it's owned by the school district, and it is the home field for the Alpine Bucks. It has been used by Sul Ross, since Sul Ross had a baseball team, and so it's the home field for the Lobos, and of course, it's home field for the Cowboys. But it's owned by the school district, so if anybody has the authoritative request, it's ISDs. This is very much historic. You know, it's a,
It is in the wrong place. For me, I don't feel that, I think the historical commission or whomever has that capacity should be getting these kind of asks. Because this has no impact on tax at all. Unless you got contractors, say, to do the renovation, but otherwise, who's gonna come and watch a renovation?
well, they know.
But
that's exactly what I think about the museum.
yeah,
Yeah, you guys were in agreement on that?
yeah, I just, you know, if you look along the trickle down effect, yes, I can see where the renovation is. It's gonna help. I mean, any kind of renovation is good for the infrastructure or whatever it is, it's gonna help. It's not gonna put heads in heads. Unless we're-
This was once called the Yankee Stadium of Texas. I think it's important for us. Just wanted to
There's
throw
no
it out.
question,
There's no impact on the first
The-
one,
the-
it's gotta have zero.
Right,
there's no question that the Coconut Field is hugely important to us. The question is putting money into maintenance and improvements to the field. How does that expenditure affect our,
If you don't make those improvements, are the Cowboys gonna continue to play there every single year? And they do put heads and beds with
at
every
the
game they
beginning they
have.
do, but they can go to somebody else and ask for historic renovation money.
But they also have the high school tournaments there that put heads in beds because our high schools come from further away. So that is an impact. Every time Saw Ross has an outside team come, they stay in hotels.
yeah, I don't think it's zero. Now, I agree with you that it's not 10, but I don't think personally, but again, it's not I don't have a number.
But
yet,
it says here that the SRSU and Alpine Cowboys reserve hotel room blocks for the same teams currently. Anyway, so like they're still bringing in people.
But they specifically ask for renovation money. That's what the.
I mean, a renovation doesn't bring people. That's what you're saying. And if you're renovating, you're not gonna be able to keep having all these games not having an impact on putting.
So I think it would be a 6, like the museum of the big.
I agree. I would like to know what the other, like the Alpine Cowboys,
I mean,
and the other ones are asking.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
that,
Yeah.
that's the funding belongs there, like,
Exactly. That's how I feel too. That belongs in there.
because we have them here as Alpine Cowboys baseball, where we could also do it.
So Alpine Cowboys asked us to give them the money that they're required to give the school every year towards the field renovations, if you read their application.
Yeah, we give a nominal, ask to the Cowboys for historical every year. Or we have done for quite some time, but to you guys, what did you do it?
And what was the other place else? You said they asked.
So Ross, so there's 3 different entities asking for the same large project. But, so we've agreed it's not 0. We've also, it seems like what, we had a 6.
6.
Like if they're
No, they want to advertise the field as a whole. That's a different, they're asking for $5,000 to create the promotional material. Which I will tell you is desperately needed about the Cowboys, because their website is just through the Pages League. Like, we have a 1 page that we hand out to everyone that comes, that the people who come to the visitor center, like year round, and it gives the history of the team, and we only have that because Chris created it for their program like years ago.
I saw a really cool ad that was like the cutest little baseball park in Texas.
Well, it's modeled after Wrigley. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I think it would be great if it could become like a walk-through museum year round, because it's unfortunate it's only used in such a short period of time. So I have a vision that it should be.
That's okay with me. Now, we have a 6 and a 3, I think, so it's
I say 3.
for their
Looking at
impact
specific
on overnight
applications.
stays for
I
the
understand what you're saying, but like, why should we fund the renovation? There are other sources of funding for that, and it's not creating
In the
hotel.
city that does that kind of stuff.
should.
That's the city's responsibility.
But that's a whole category of hot fund money. That's a category that the
Historic
state says
restoration preservation.
that we can afford it.
But it is.
But we have a 6 and a 3 now, should we,
Stand by my six.
I'm gonna go with 9.
okay? We got 6 and 9, we got 2 3s. Very good.
5 or 6. Yeah, they bring a lot of people to town, but the renovation,
Yeah.
they're gonna bring more people. to
Which one do you want to do?
see.
But the application is not asking just for the renovation. The application is asking for 3 different categories.
So all under.
It's one application from the school. They're asking for promotion money, they're asking for historic reservation money and sporting money on the one application. 45,000 total split between 3 categories.
So our numeric score is whether we're in favor of any of those things, because I would be in favor of promotion and so would I.
The sporting event, the sports are different. The sporting event expenses actually are improvements to the game facility, you know, and so it's not putting on a game, it's not putting on an event. It is, now there is the materials, those are helpful. But once again, materials aren't necessarily an event. So, John, what's your thought on, what's your number for the overnight stay impact for the restoration money for Coconut Field?
5 to 7.
5, so 6?
It goes up the more you spend on it.
I'm gonna put you right in the middle then as a 6, if that works for you.
That's just fine. You know, it's one of those things, if we overlook it, it dies.
Totally agreed.
One of the things too, Karen, on the historic restoration money they're asking for is so they can apply for national historic designation. So I think
Yeah.
that'll help them get other.
That would help.
Yes, yeah.
It also would help that facility bring people to town. So it looks like 5.5. Is everybody okay with that average? Okay. Capability.
Did we skip a question?
Oh wait, yeah, somebody talked about 10 or
Okay,
7.
then.
Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Then capability,
To do renovation or?
this looks like to accomplish this renovation, accomplish this project.
Did they say who's doing it, or they don't even have that?
They would have to send it out to bid. Is there
So how confident are we that the Alpine Independent School District can administer a renovation program?
looking at that new high school?
They still have to space the name, right?
That is a legitimate question, that's why I asked.
Yeah,
And even they started something, now they have a little bit of experience.
So that number's going up a little bit in your mind, but
Yeah.
capability to execute.
Which depends on who they get.
Right.
I mean, we've had people over the mountain that haven't showed up in 3 years. So we can put on a good program, but we still can't get people to come and work.
Okay, so we got a couple of 3s. I'm okay with that.
You guys are at 3?
I don't think it's fair to hold the school against the contractors in this area report.
I'm not.
Megan, come on, 2 cents.
7.
I think you're judging a past administration and not giving the new administration a chance. You're calling out fire. You have a new superintendent. She is a go-getter
She does so.
and she is staying on top of things. I would not use that as part of your scale.
So this past edition is the first year.
No, that superintendent, once you got a bond, once the superintendent got a bond pass, she was out of here. That's your ticket to a better,
Not
place.
to determine how they execute.
Well,
Remember, this is
yeah.
reimbursement based on what they want to do. If they don't do it, we don't reimburse.
That's true, Megan, but we do
yeah.
have capacity to execute as one of our scoring criteria.
Well, I think that needs to be talked about a little bit more than
Okay.
sitting there saying,
Okay, yeah, we had some issues with the past project. Okay, well, thank you for that context. So now we know, and I can confirm that my perceptions, Dr. Weinberg, really positive. She does, I agree with Megan's,
I agree. All this stuff that he's doing on school funding right now, man, she's being legislative.
they also worked with, Alpine Community Projects to get daycare facilities to Alpine for the first time in a long time. So she certainly was able to execute.
She got grant money and.
If anybody can pull it together.
It just went up.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. So where are we?
She got her master's from Harvard, right?
Oh, give her a 10.
Oh.
And her doctorate. She got her doctorate from Harvard, right, as she was starting at Alpine, I think, right? It
I'm
was
not
something
sure.
like that, yeah.
Okay, so you want
We're
to?
just lucky she married away from Fort Davis.
There you go.
Here.
Okay, so diversity, 45% of cost is what they're asking for. So that sounds like a 10 for diversity. There's no report because it's not happening. So it is new, never asked for that money before. So that is It's not an event or an activity. But so what do you want to do for new and innovative?
They're innovating.
Yeah.
Well, they're a resort,
Yeah.
so. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's not, it's up to you guys on that.
Give it to him.
Yeah,
Just do it.
it's, yeah.
Okay.
They always want-
All right. Then we'll do the, thank you all for. We all knew this was gonna be a long. Big Bend Bluegrass Association, this is gonna be their second time around.
Can I speak to this for a second?
Absolutely.
Can we, like, are the dates negotiable, because we don't need anything else on weekends in October, we're already so busy. Like, I just don't know if the day, like, is that something that we can discuss with the?
I know she's already got posters and stuff out there,
Yeah.
so for
I don't know.
this year,
Yeah.
She's already got her people.
Yeah, I wish there was some way to like
What else is
rethink
going
that.
on, in October?
I don't, we're just always slammed in October, it's one of our busiest months.
Because the park picked up again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or, I mean, and we sell out every weekend in October already, so we don't need it then, you know?
We need them in June, and if it's inside of that. J months are terrible, so yeah.
How many years has she been doing?
this is her second year, she had the first one last year.
I will say that her people who came for longer because they were all from, mostly from other places. Alpine does not appreciate bluegrass music yet. They probably will the more she continues it. But all of her people were from like those bluegrass states that you think of.
Yeah.
So like Kentucky and Tennessee, and they came for like a week because they had never been here before. And they traveled pretty far and stayed in hostels.
Well, and maybe it's good because Alpine is growing in the number of offerings that it has for what I'm saying. It'll help with the.
Yeah, now she says they had 250 attendees, are hoping to double it this year.
She's got lots of donors.
So for overnight stays, what do you wanna
Yeah.
suggest? Professionalism? And capability? She has done it once. Well, actually, also,
She came from somewhere else doing it. Right,
promoting
right.
effectively out of the area is one thing. Now, clearly, she's got the Bluegrass Network, you know, that she's hooked into because her family did the Wicked Bluegrass
Oh, that's
Festival
right.
for a long time, and that's basically what they've moved to Alpine.
Oh, yeah.
So they have that long
Yeah.
time capability.
Yeah, it's 21 years elsewhere.
Yep, wicked.
So 10 for capability, let's look at the revenue.
So she's asking for 25 grand. Is that like just to leave the band?
He's looking for 75%,
Right.
which is pretty high. So yeah, she's asking for 15,000 to pay the performers, 10,000 to advertise, and 400 towards the civic center.
But she only requested 25,000.
Right.
Because yeah, well, we'll have to reduce. She says she only asked on that line, but she actually asked for 25,000 for. When you itemize it out.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes that's been in kind, but it no longer is. They actually we have to cut a check from the city to the city. That happened. But so. Let's see, I think Art Walk was something like 60%. That they had asked for, that we gave them a 10. So let me double check that number though. No, that was 37. It's something else. That was getting up there. But I can't remember, so 75%. What diversity sport is that gonna?
Like 4.
Yeah.
It's like this money is gonna pay for one event.
Yeah, that's fair, I mean.
That's her brother is sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
But it doesn't say how much they're gonna.
Yeah, and I think they're modest. She does not have the network that
Yeah.
Stewart has.
Yeah.
To get the big one.
Different than food stuff.
But what do we wanna, Evan suggested a 4 for diversity with their thing.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. She absolutely had a report. It is still kind of new and it's certainly innovative. Okay. So, next is Afro Fab Fest. We're gonna discuss really briefly. They're postponed it for the year, but there's an open question as to like when they plan to do it and if they want to add, still request some promotional funds, because depending on when it happens. They might need to spend some advertising money at the end of this year for that. It is kind of sprawling, very ambitious. So what it is she's talking to dignitaries, artists, performers in Ghana and neighboring countries to come to Alpine. And I think she's done some similar things with Soul Rocks, like bringing some people to the university. But she doesn't mention it here, and it might not have been her, but there definitely have been some similar things from African to Soul Rocks. And so this is an event where it has a kind of a trade show portion where she's bringing these dignitaries in and have a meeting at the Granada, that's kind of a familiarization with the region. And which I don't quite understand what the model is for investment, because she's talking about like presenting this region as something that these people might want to be more involved in. Why, I'm not sure, but Andy's here and having a good time, so he wants to share that. But so that's part of it, and then there's fashion, food, music, dance events that are kind of bringing these people in to have a.
And then all the sporting stuff is separate.
Yeah, and then there's a soccer tournament.
And basketball.
Yeah, and what?
And basketball.
And basketball.
Mayor's Cup or something.
Exactly. So in this sense, it's very, it's very ambitious. Now,
Unrealistic.
I mean, it sounds super fun, but
so that's the question. So we have, we, like professionalism, and she did use a pen, but the document, yeah, see that?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah. How many years have you held an event or those projects? 10 plus, actually. Yeah.
You know, this sounds like it's a
Oh.
shame that we can't partner with Big Bend Tourism.
We suggested that.
who
Yeah.
have, you know, if we're gonna introduce the area to somebody else, it would be nice if it could be a, what's the right word? A bigger bucket from our end with more.
yeah, agreed. And now I did talk to Robert about the
Yeah.
Big Bend hosting a fan tour of the rest of the region. So bringing the people who come in and around farther than just Alpine. So
A big
that's-
fam tour.
yeah, so that, I've already talked to Robert about that. Now I know that she's brought, like, there was a journalist that she brought over who wrote just a glowing article for African media about Alpine and the Big Bend region. That's a very small thing, and that's one guy. And this is a huge thing with a lot of different people, all of whom have to have their travel paid, you know, and so, but let's say impact on overnight stays, let's go between this thing is completely successful, something like a 10, or it's a swing and a miss, but, you know, so what do you guys think? In terms of,
She's saying 10,000 plus as attendee.
that,
I mean, I don't know where else she's done stuff like that, but that'll happen.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's a great thing. It sounds fun, it really does. Maybe if we could, well, she does kind of blue pictures and stuff of what she had prior. I think it's, for me, it's worth throwing off as dignitary. I don't understand why are they looking to buy parts up and build stuff and that kind of thing, or what are they intending to do? Because I have nothing out here that.
I know,
I see it.
that's unclear. But let's give a guess for what you actually think might happen in terms of overnight stays, if she doesn't think.
Well, she's gonna book everything if we pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I mean, 10,000 people, we don't have enough rooms.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
What's wrong with standing up?
If it gets to those numbers, yeah, that's unprecedented.
Is that 187,000? Or something.
Yeah, well, and on page 1 of her application, she asked for 370,000.
Yeah.
I actually itemized it out, it only added that. But, so.
Turned out to be something wonderful, there's something we never had before.
Yeah, and it's just scary.
Yeah, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I totally agree, but we do have to give them a number on impact on overnight stays. So who wants to give the best guess?
Fine.
That's it,
That's
that's
good
it.
with five.
That's a solid.
Good, one shot in the dark.
Okay, professional.
Oh, she's very professional.
Absolutely. Okay,
I mean, just.
capabilities, capabilities obviously a question, because it's such an ambitious thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also question, how are they gonna get any money to pay out all these expenses first for us to read?
Yeah.
Those are huge expenses that somebody has to front.
Unless that
And
two hundred and 52,000, she got it in the bank 10 years ago. Or
Yeah, did you guys
Thanks.
ask her about half of that, sorry?
she has some in here, but
I don't think those are actually her events, I think those are.
that's what she said.
About their, okay. Okay.
Any marketing user is makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, it's just,
Yeah,
I-
it's a big question.
I don't have any confidence in the capability, I'm gonna just say
Me either.
zero.
Zero.
I would have more confidence if she wanted to start smaller and let it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
May I make a comment, please?
Please, John.
This seems like an event that if you do it only halfway, it fails miserably. And you really need to fund this with fireworks and banners and the whole kit and caboodle. And I don't know that we can, but that's the way it feels when I read through this, that it needs to be presented on a full scale.
I completely agree, John, but there's no question that Alpine is not in a position to fully fund this program.
Sure.
Nor is it clear that it's in Alpine's strategic interest to put those kind of resources behind this. And
To
so,
be the leader.
yeah. And so the
That
question
that
is,
there's 3 counties and lots of folks. If there's even enough money with all of those groups, with the Fort Davises and the Brewster County and Presidio and Marvin, if they could even do this.
yeah. I agree.
I really think if you do it halfway, it would be such a waste.
I just think that when I look at what they plan to spend on advertising, it's definitely not enough to make this event successful. Since it is so new and different. And then also, when I think about all these activities, and I know the workforce available in this area, in the region.
Great
take,
point.
For one.
So is it 0 or what?
I got the one.
Okay. One sounds fair. Okay, diversity of revenue is unclear. It looks like a 0, but she did talk about sponsors, Timmy. She definitely has the intention to get that,
Well,
but she doesn't show it here.
and she put Budweiser and Pepsi into vodka and take the telephone,
Yeah.
but she also put US Chamber of Commerce
Yeah, what is
and
that?
the Black Chamber of Commerce of Odessa and Access Bank in Ghana.
But no numbers, so there's no,
Yeah,
like she hasn't already
Yeah,
acquired
I
the
mean,
spending. is
right.
what I'm saying, But she is.
But I think a lot of people don't put numbers on.
Yeah, and so that, it seems like, that it's fair not to zero out her things, but we do have to come down, it can't be too high because she's asking the city for supposedly so much, so. One?
yeah, one.
I feel
There's,
like they just like drew that the idea.
Been paid forever.
we gotta get,
Right, this is all they think your-
Course, like.
Your thesis.
that's the-
so we gotta give them 10s for new and innovative, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, that probably is unnecessary because we're probably
Pull
gonna
down.
zero, but it's good to have the, okay, so then Alpine Cowboys baseball. They have, the season, they have many events throughout the summer. Each of which brings some people together. So if you guys have a feeling, let's see, out of town attendance is about 4,500 or so for the season. Yeah, that's out of town attendance, 4,500 people.
I'm okay with the 10, thank you so much.
Okay.
And they'll have more this year because they're hosting the All-Star.
See,
So that's.
they did hide their application,
Yeah, 10 and.
capability. Yeah, they get Stewart to help with their.
You know, I think it's fair to say that this whole idea has just grown every year and is really starting to become a foundational event, a reason to come out and enjoy yourselves in Alpine during this season. So I think this is becoming more and more important. That's just my comment.
Thank you, John. Let's get their diversity revenues, less than 20%. So that seems like a 10, that did give a report. Yeah. Newness and innovation. Yeah. Yeah, so I would say that bringing professional baseball back to Coconut Field was huge. Even when they weren't selling that many tickets, it was such a good story, a great asset to be able to use.
I think it's so unique, like not a lot of communities have this. That I was.
So I'd say you can't do them that one, they did that.
Okay, that's on innovation. What about the newness there, actually? Okay,
And have we given them, if they ask for money before?
yeah, many times. In fact, they have asked for the same budget. Now, this year, they are, and we'll talk about numbers later, but they are asking, they usually ask for 1,000 for historical restoration preservation. This year, 10,000. And that is part of this larger project at AISD.
It's part of their sublease contract from Soros and AISD, they protect $10,000.
So if that gets funding, it actually goes to
The school district.
okay.
Let's see, now we have Big Bend Film Commission.
Well, for video.
Throw them out.
So, this one is, in terms of impact on overnight stays, it's something, when it's successful, it has an immense impact, and when it's not, obviously, it doesn't, but, and so, the Big Bend Film Commission, a lot of what they put on the table is the website, which has many location photographs around the region, so that people, when they're researching what photo shoots, video shoots, TV film, things they might want to do, they can see the assets that we have, and that enables them to come. And I know that we had one feature that filmed a couple of years ago in February. They put about $90,000 into Alpine hotels, and they came because they saw the road photos on that website. So,
And just repaying for it.
yeah. So yeah, now they want to care, then unless there's paper. Who wants to film those?
Park commercial.
Right? So that's kind of how that works, is that it's a big hit when it hits.
I really like this event because, Texas is the largest growth state right now in the country, and this is held in Austin, which has the largest influx of people from California. And there's also something there and ideas, especially this year, they'll be there next year. And I think it's a great opportunity to make sure that they know about this area, so they can bring their money here. Vacation, because everyone in Texas is trying to get the attention of all these new transplants. And this is one way that we can keep the word out about this area.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I didn't mention, the primary expenditures here are the presence at the Oscar. So what do you guys think about impact on overnight stay?
I'm good with it.
Professionalism? Looks fully tight.
So we didn't put numbers in some place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put some numbers. Give us some blanks.
Yeah, well, this whole thing.
26,000, but we.
Yeah, oh, because we.
Just put it
down.
But
That's the attached one.
okay, so. Follow rules. Follow directions.
Okay,
Obeying all ordinances.
capability to host to do the event, is that
Yeah.
work? Okay, let's look at. Now, diversity of revenue is low. This is the full cost of the program.
And this is more of a regional thing, so why would, you know, have funding from the other.
Because he, at the event, he encourages them to go throughout kind of staying outline as a
Yeah.
part of the region.
Yeah, I work closely with.
I'm sure, because it says Big Bend Film. I was
It is
just wondering, like,
very valuable.
Yeah. and we could have some personally funding for
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
Well, and Emily can speak directly, because she went in my place last year too, because I couldn't go.
Now, all I did was talk about staying out.
I love the location poster, Chris, that's cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we made a fake movie poster.
Like, it looks like their advertising looks like a
Yeah.
poster from last year, that's cool.
So what did we decide on the first?
I put 0 because it is at 100. So innovation. The only thing of its kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so we have scores for the good adult. Then, So Ross, brand new set of applications here. They have not done this before. To the point where it was a little bit confusing at times working out with them.
The third page is completely blank.
Yeah, the,
Third page is completely blank.
We're on the Coconut Lodge activity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also have a question on this, because I just spoke to Margie this week, and she's putting some of that money they got into the Coconut Lodge. And they don't talk about that at all. Like, she put, because the theater department got awarded a huge chunk of money, and they're gonna put funds into Coconut Lodge. She actually has the visiting actors that are here for the summer program are using the Coconut Lodge, like, they're using that kitchen because they're staying at the Doris, so they're like hanging out in the lodge and using it. So originally she had told us, Christina, that they were gonna just do the outdoor amphitheater and the one of the Marshall or
Yeah,
in the school. So now she is gonna do stuff to the lodge
Okay.
with her money. So I don't know how that ties in with this.
Right.
in a lodge.
Well, that's the actor. This is different. He's saying that this could be a venue for all these other things that they could spend.
There's no impact on ordinance states.
Yeah.
So that's a 0.
It hasn't ever had before, but it has potential to, yes.
I agree, I think it's a 0 too.
Okay. No one agrees? No one disagrees, we'll put 0.
Because that's what they're expecting.
Okay, so professionalism. Professionalism's
A little low.
it's a mixed bag, yeah.
3.
Okay, capability.
Unknown.
What are they capable of renovating the lodge? Is that the question?
Yeah, I would suggest that the university has a track record of accomplishing construction projects of all sizes. So that's not.
But I would also question, why isn't the university sinking a bunch of money into this to make it the draw? Before asking us to give them money to promote it.
Yep.
And Alpine as a whole.
Yeah.
Maybe it's premature.
Yeah, and when could, I suspect, yeah, this is kind of an afterthought, that, oh, well, maybe we can get some city money as to supplement what we're doing, but they're not showing us that
Yeah.
in their application. They're not saying, here's our well thought out program, and here's how we'd love for you to participate.
This is something they may give to someone else and also send it.
But even the theater, I don't personally feel that they promote themselves well enough. A little, what do you call those? They
Stand in the corner.
Right.
Oh, no, they do more than that outside this area for sure. The big theater, big then?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up, but you know, they do more than that. But we can talk about that in 50 hours. Yeah.
But in terms of capability, I would suggest that to the university, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be all.
Say 10.
yeah, now diversity of revenue, it's not clear in the application, but their rough estimate for the total was 500,000. Or 25, so that's, that has to be.
Yeah.
Report is not applicable. It is new. In the sense that we haven't paid for it, but what do you guys think? New, innovative?
Yeah.
It's already there.
Okay.
Yeah, I could say that.
Okay. Anyone disagree?
Nope.
Then we'll move on to Jackson Field. All of this Jackson Field room for this, but he's actually talking about events. That's very confusing.
Concerts?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, if you look at it too, like it lists all these concerts, but those are never for the community, those are things for the student. Those aren't like things,
At Jacksonville?
but he's saying he's
They're
proposing
proposing
hosts up there.
Yeah.
Oh, proposal.
But because he's doing this, he's proposing events to the public that would be promoted to out of town people, or it's not applicable at all. And he does have $10,000 for promotion in the budget.
That's so much
$5,000
music.
for historic
I know,
restoration,
and I don't see as a bed, I'm just put it on.
4,000 for sporting.
Sometimes I'm just gonna start, so these out, 25.
Because he's thinking about a series of events, including sporting events. And those potentially can bring people do like travel for sport.
Right, but if you would broken that into each events.
Yeah.
Or concert, or whatever you want to call that, I think it would have been a little easier for us to see the potential. Yeah, so I would see the.
Actually, an event, yeah, it's just like.
Right,
All there is right now is the Solid football games.
Yeah, and they have a sample of some of the things they've done, which Heather's exactly right. These things are all things they've done
For students,
for students.
at other locations, never at the field.
okay, legally required. Well, it's not a basic. Okay, that's a zero.
Now, I would argue that, yes, Rich,
So, one, I love the process. I mean, you guys do a great job walking this. If you don't think, I know a little bit about Saul Ross because they are changing weeks to a 2-day.
That's gonna
So
kill their recruiting for the next 5 years, though.
that's gonna what?
It'll kill their recruiting for like the next 5 years, why they do the process.
No.
Because you can't compete in the championships in your current division while you're doing the transition.
All I'm raising is their teams are gonna be much closer to Alpine than they compete against football. So they are gonna actually grow the amount of people who participate coming from out of town. Now, I'm not trying to sway one way or the other. I just know that's their thinking. They're trying to go through and think about how do they upgrade the stadium to work better. You guys gotta make your,
okay,
if I'm you, all part of the feedback I get back to Saul Ross is, hey, Saul Ross. You got your own budget, you're off trying to work, but if you want some money, you gotta be more definitive about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just think they missed the opportunity to talk about too late.
yeah, I agree.
Because since it was unknown, but once marketing plan is solidified, it was
Yeah.
a significant number.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Now, I would argue that overnight stays, if they're doing sporting events and they actually do them, are gonna be definitely more than zero.
Yeah.
So what would you guys, let's present, and once again, we've got a best case and a worst case. And so best case, obviously, that's a 10. They've got some great sporting events bringing tons of people to town. Then there's, but obviously, because we don't know, it's somewhere in the middle, but what's your?
And we do already get some people for spring,
Yeah.
so should we take that into
Yeah.
consideration also?
It's gonna increase the number of people.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like horse races, right? I mean, it's gonna be a sporting event that the students are all getting, participating in. Coming, I mean, student to student, and then it's a concert. Comfortable.
So I'm only suggesting
Yeah, I
that it
mean-
might be zero, yeah. So
Yeah.
five, that's fair. Professionalism?
10.
You think?
Well, I don't know, because I don't think it's.
Yeah,
gonna get
well,
that just that-
in the sense of, the Sound Business Information Plan, they have no business or information. Okay, so what do you want to put? You do, that's,
Okay.
that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, that was true, but yeah.
Okay, capability to host a successful program or event and promote effectively out of the area. I don't think they've actually established that. We know that Soul Ross can put on events. They do it all the time. That's a no-brainer, but what kind of number you want to put on that? The application doesn't give us confidence, but what we know about the university.
Right. These are straight.
Does it cost the university, on a side note, does it cost the university a lot of money to host a baseball? What is it actually like and art concessions?
Yeah.
Hot dogs?
But yeah, all of those things are gonna have a cost. I don't know how big they. So we have 1/6 on the table for capability.
Yeah.
Is it good with that? I would count. Okay. Diverse revenues. Yeah. Well, actually, this is 100% of total event costs covered by hotel. That's a zero. And for them, not it yet. It is new. Is it innovative? So we'll say, yeah, they haven't shown it to be.
But don't lots of other universities make big money off of bringing in to their existing facility, like other places?
Yeah, like,
So
when
the
there's
model-
playoff games, they have.
No,
to
I'm
pay
saying
to
like,
use
they're
it.
not even talking about the sporting side of it. They're saying like bringing in other things like concerts, like I went to my first New Kids on the Block concert at University of Illinois,
Right.
like at their
Yeah.
event center. So like,
Is that their plan?
that's what he's kind of talking about, like
Yeah,
concerts.
that's for the Jackson Field.
That's what, no, I think that's what he's saying at the field, right?
Yeah,
That's what he's
well,
proposing.
I would say that. Fiesta 1888, a free show,
Right.
was the only like name concert that I've seen.
Bring it.
Really perform, because people don't really come to Alpine for that.
Just for one.
The
concert.
Divas situation where you've got tons of
Bands,
intimate
yeah,
shows were
right.
great, and, but, yeah, the big names. Because nobody can afford a real big name, so the medium names, it's not enough to bring.
I think that actually Spirits of the West saw that in their concerts that they did, because they said that they will not do the concerts at Granada next year like they did this year. Because Cody Canada is expensive and he didn't bring the kind of return that they were expecting. Not enough people came just for that, so they were gonna actually switch up their model probably next year, because they said it was not as well as it really at that time. When it started getting dark, more people were like stay on the street, enjoying the wine stuff and not go to the concert. So that's a perfect example of where the bigger name didn't draw people just outside.
At my university, they used to have like weekend jazz concerts on the green. There weren't any other events associated with it, but they would get people from all over Atlanta coming in, just to like hang out on the university outside of the city. I could see like people coming from Fort Davis or Marathon or
Right.
something, and maybe like just the
I think
nighttime.
we have the right kind of performing fee to draw people from Marco, but I don't think anybody in
Yeah,
Alpine
I
is
would
really tapping into that right now.
And I think very few.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the ones who are like night boring would actually. Yeah. Okay, so then, so innovative was 0, or do you want to give a different number?
It's new, right?
It is new, but new. But I just want to make sure that I've got numbers that you guys are happy with.
What did you put for report?
A report not applicable because it's not, it hasn't happened yet. That's mainly for if they've had a past grant that they told us how. Okay, Granada, we have several different projects that are being proposed from Granada. One of them is the sign restoration, which obviously is going to have the same issue. When I talked to Benjamin about it, it does, that's historic restoration preservation. It is iconic in Alpine downtown. Now, it does have the same question of how many people are going to spend the night because the sign is looking good.
It even says NA on this application.
No, it says 9 to 23 days.
For somebody next will be saying NA.
Around
How
the
much to get actor in, like,
No,
Holland
no,
Avenue in
yeah.
general and.
But
Yeah,
it's
the sign
not-
was got one sign.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
well,
You
the
know,
sign one, it says
yeah.
it doesn't apply, yeah.
And so that might get it above the
you know,
zero.
like, yeah,
It might get it above the zero, but the question for you guys is how high above the zero? One,
I'm gonna say two, but
We have a 1 or we have a 2. John, do you have an opinion?
It's, I have a big opinion. It, a lot of what we're dealing with today is talking about infrastructure. And while I don't think the Granada sign is all that important, that the building owner can't take care of it themselves, but my thought was, it's been running around in my brain. My thought is that if we don't maybe dig deep and start really putting money into infrastructure, it's gonna cost us a whole ton more. And I'm talking about Jackson Field and the baseball stadium and Coconut Outdoor Theater and the Coconut Lodge and that sort of thing. And we're not the only ones that need the help, but I think that Alpine needs to be cognizant of the fact that infrastructure is a fading girlfriend if you don't take care of her.
Okay,
I agree.
I will say the historic tour that the Granada is on and the Holland's on and all the things is the highest distributed thing that we put out. I mean, how many times have we ordered it?
yeah, we
And the last-
read that brochure many, many times. Almost everybody who goes through picks one up and you'll see people using them all over town. And Bigger Knot is absolutely, it's not the only thing on that, obviously.
I don't
yeah,
think the sign being broken though is stopping people from looking at the Granada and from using it, right?
Yeah,
The sign, but it would be nice, but my question is, then we give money to something that is a private business, we just increase the value of a private business's property. And what's our return on that? And shouldn't that be the owner? Right, because he's the one that's gonna benefit when he goes to sell it, not us.
Right, and there's no overnight stay, so.
but we did have a 1 or maybe a 2 on overnight stays, so. What's the?
only because of the impact that it has on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's where it goes.
So John, is it a 1 or a 2 or more on for impact? on
No,
overnight?
I think it's a 1, you know, if the owner didn't factor in the repair of the sign when they bought the building,
Yeah.
you know, it should be one of those things they should take care of themselves, I think, personally.
Okay. Professionalism of the application?
I suppose, so Cindy is a 10?
Anybody disagree? Okay. Capability,
I wonder if it would get fixed if we didn't give the money.
Well, that's the best part of having this was get signed.
we have city manager.
Is
There is.
this just the neon sign?
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's not including the awning?
just the outside sign,
yeah, it's the
the long one.
the historic sign, because it's historic when he's asking.
I'm only asking because then TechStop has to be involved because it is a TechStop right away. And there would have to have some kind of indication in his application that he's worked with them. I don't know as far as the sign itself, if that affects anything. But I would definitely,
Well, he's not, he's only bringing the sign back to
the
how it's been
original
a few years
condition?
ago even, because, you know,
But making it night sky compliant,
yeah.
which I think that opens the can.
So
of
just
worms
the
too. Why do
original
we think one
conditions,
person's
right?
night sky
Pretty much,
compliant and not
yeah.
everybody else
Yeah.
gets green?
well, if you have any businesses off the state highway and they're trying to remodel and that with awnings and all that,
Mhm.
that's actually. TechStop has worked with the city, but it's actually against their right of way.
Right, that's why Santana couldn't put one up. He got cited and was not allowed to put it on his building.
Isn't there a Main Street project now?
Or not
It used
anymore,
to
we're
be
not
that
in the
year,
youth program.
yeah.
And they're not
Yeah,
accepting
that's a whole other
applications.
discussion, one half is.
Yeah, we won't.
No, I was about to go off.
I know.
Okay, so our best guess about capability.
Thank you all for what you're doing. You're doing a great job. I've got to be in Eagle Pass, Dallas, and Washington DC tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm-
Safe
Thanks very much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Look forward to seeing your results of council.
You can tell them about our process.
Yeah.
Okay, capabilities, best guess. Okay. Well.
He says that he's 86% of the cost,
7%.
and he's gonna fundraise the rest of it.
Wait, how much was that?
He's asking for 66.67%. Of his budget. Oh, right, and then, sorry.
But it says here that they estimate that the local sign shop providing the estimated cost of $25,000. So what not really wrong, yeah.
It would, it's not zero, so, yeah,
Sounds like it's gonna very off. That.
okay, it is new. Okay, you're right. So- Nothing is storing to get any place, okay. We have some-
No, lit up. It's not like it's gone.
That's true, okay, so what?
And it's very nice guy compliant.
Okay. What do you think it is for newness and innovation? Okay.
First one,
All right. Moving on to work out west.
That's done too, right?
So this one,
I'll put it.
yeah. And so this is the remote work one, right?
They
And
have
so,
those offices up there.
yeah, this one actually, I would argue that it's very innovative because he's targeting, and it has the potential for a large impact on our overnight stays.
I would have thought that like a year ago though, but now you're seeing all these corporations shifting back to you need to
they're
return to
saying
the office.
no
It's completely switched, like Disney and all these people are like, no, you have to be with people to be creative. Like there's a huge shift in the opposite way now. It's like a year late.
Well, to have the maximum size of an audience, yes, but by no means is that audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's the potential to have midweek stays, which we are always hurting for. So, in that sense, there's a potential high impact, but what do you guys think?
Well, every time I go to a nomadic hotel in other countries where they do remote working, I hardly ever see people using that workspace. They're like in their rooms or in the lounge somewhere, like they're not paying. They're nomads, they're not paying to sit in a desk in this room. They're
A lot
like,
of people come to our Airbnbs and they do the remote work in their Airbnb. They wouldn't go to this place.
hey, for this. I like that there's a lot of advertising for Outback.
I'm willing to give points for innovation, but yeah, I'm not sure about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, and even if you're saying 8, how many people do you have looking for 8 nights?
Well, we're not on yoga yet.
Well, that's right, okay.
This is the work.
I'm saying people will stay here longer if they have this workspace. They'll advertise it as, you can stay here and enjoy the visit longer, work remotely from my spot.
I
He's
think that
targeting
should be sale.
weekends too, instead of weekends.
Yeah, but we would see a way bigger impact if we were if somebody was trying to get a conference here or something like that, and we're ever gonna see out the
Right.
4 workspaces, how many are there up there? I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't even tell you. I don't know how many there are, I'm just saying, it can't be that many.
Have any of you ever been up here?
I walked up there
Not since he's
briefly.
had it. I've been up there years ago.
I didn't see inside the room, so I saw like doors.
But so here's the question. So there's the potential for, if it's successful, to invite people to work remotely. Now, as Evan said, that the promotion of Alpine as a place to come and work remotely might be successful regardless if they decide, like this nomad hotels, people are in that city working remotely.
Yeah.
They're just not interested in the specific
Right.
facility. So
They
if
do advertise.
if he plants the idea in an advertising campaign, is Alpine is a good place for this, we might get that campaign. might
Is
bring
he
us-
looking to have people rent that space like we were?
Yes, that's what it is.
That's
we
it.
were, and they've already gone there, so I don't see where this is going to make a huge impact.
Right.
But I think sometimes it's bad to advertise so broadly. Like I like advertising that has a call to action. And like a timely call to action, like if you come now, you get this, and it gives them incentive to come.
Which is why all kinds of
But if it's
event
just
driven.
an open call,
That's right.
Was true. Why we give event grants, right?
Yep.
But so I've made my case for the possibility.
Yeah.
But what do you guys, what number do you want?
For overnight stays,
Yeah.
for the possibility, I'm gonna give a 1.
One.
I don't think it was a missing.
Okay, so we have 1, 4, a 1, Barry at 0. You had a 1 or 0, 1, 1. John, what do you think?
2.
1.5. Okay, professionalism. That's the application, sound and business and promotional plan. Clearly you have questions about the business plan.
Eight, four.
I mean, there's restricted. 4, 8.
We have a,
Want to 100%, because
500.
we have to go down.
because yeah, this is what he's proposing an advertising campaign for
Right.
Upland as a place to kind of move forward. At his specific.
Right, 100%.
Well, he said 27% of the total cost.
Okay, yeah, that's just, so like, let's do it on advertising,
Yeah.
which is part of their overall.
Right,
advertising.
right. He's saying how he's gonna use it. He's using it all for advertising, which is a bonus for us because we haven't spent advertising.
Right.
And so that's why I was inclined, personally, if we're all about me, I'd say, hey, try it because that's a place we're not advertising. But
Yeah.
that's me as the advertiser.
Right.
You guys are considering the professionalism of stuff.
And the impact on the hotel records.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also like that they have a real number in marketing reach because 500,000, it's like very easy to reach.
But he doesn't say where. He doesn't, I mean, he said it's just total paid. He said it's all gonna be digital. It's
Yeah.
nothing anywhere else.
Yeah, but he has a targeting professionals already utilizing co-working offices in major cities throughout Texas, US, especially those near other national.
Yeah, I think that's really cool advertising.
Yeah,
And there are still remote workers.
but so what do you think about the professionalism? That's our
I
question.
like him, I think he's pretty professional, and I like his numbers, I like the fact that he's purchased kind of cities and parks and 500,000, that's a realistic number.
What is your
I would give him 7.
I go for 4. Okay, Suzie, 4. Everything professional, 4. John, what do you think about the professionalism of the Work Out West application?
3. I think it's lacking.
But when you look at their attached document, the Alpha Social Introduction, they said that they surveyed hundreds of visitors this past year. That the visitors they talked to, that they would extend their stay if they have reliable work conditions. Like reliable.
It's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Not a lot of fiber.
Does that idea change anybody's number? Okay, then we're at 4.5. What about capability?
Advertising, is that the big?
Okay,
makes people
successfully executing an advertising campaign.
And promote effectively out of the. Okay, so
I would give it 10 for ability to advertise.
okay,
Where's the Granada advertising now? We don't.
Right, I haven't seen anything, but haven't done it.
right. He's yeah.
But those are all local.
But we have 2 zeros and a 10.
Where do we have?
But we're looking at the
I just
capability.
think the whole thing, I think we'll get the whole thing at 0. I think it's way for now.
I'll give that a 0. Okay, what do you think?
I was thinking about it too, but.
2, okay. John, what do you think about the capability of Workout West?
You know, it should be reminded that it's a for-profit, I believe, unless I misread that. So I don't give it better than a 3.
A 3? No, I will say that there's no. If a for-profit has the impact on overnight stays, that is not a reason not to.
Right.
Okay, 3.8 is the average. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, diversity of revenue, according to his idea. He estimated 27%, which seems quite diverse. There is no report. What do you think? It is new?
I don't think it's innovative at all, by the way.
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, moving on. Thank you. And that was painful. So
Yoga retreat,
at the Alpine Yoga Retreat.
is that the,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's all upstairs.
Why are they calling it the Alpine Circular Band? That's,
That-
I don't
Yes.
understand.
I think the route is my best guess,
Oh.
but it'd be interesting if it truly was circular.
That's the whole process wasn't.
Wait, but what are you on? We're on the.
We're on the yoga retreat, yes.
If you're that order.
This must have gotten mixed up. Yeah.
Where's the yoga?
Yeah.
It don't matter.
Okay, well, let's see.
it's a yoga retreat in March at the ground.
March is a terrible time. Yeah, you're already full.
Unneeded.
Let's see,
I
there was.
wonder if- Pardon me.
In advertising 1,500 for,
There wouldn't be any place for anyone.
30
for
attending?
8 straight days.
that's what they say, expected attendance 30 for 8 nights.
Right, in March, there's no place that you can even get 8 nights straight.
Let's see what the
Like
exact.
you're booking right,
Even that,
like a month ago.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe a year ago.
Maybe last month.
Book before you leave.
Okay, so then impact on overnight stays.
Zero.
A year ago.
I wonder if this really is an event that will attract people farther away than Fort Davis, and they might not even stay. It seems to be on shaky ground to me, that you're going to get people from San Antonio who have lots of terrific yoga places to come out and stay in Alpine to do yoga. But I'm just old and creaky and wouldn't go to a yoga class.
Well, John Heather suggests that this yoga teacher does have a network outside of the area, so there's the potential, but maximum,
Everything's booked up there.
exactly, but maximum benefit of the doubt, it's a max of 240 nights if it books fully, if they find the rooms. But we had a 0 for impact because of the competition for rooms.
Also, I question the ability of these proposed yogis to pay for rooms here because it says they're reaching out to yoga studios along the Amtrak routes. To promote to their, like, are they coming on Amtrak?
Well, we're like the only stop in San Antonio don't have them. So.
I know, but
This one feels to me like it would be nice if it was a second year or third year project. And now they were coming for money.
it would be nice
It
if.
had some statistics to back it up.
All inside.
Well, and the description does say they are excited to soon begin organizing quarterly yoga retreats to the region. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys will probably decide to tell them to come back after they've done a few and we'll see.
Yeah.
But we still have to score it. So,
And it's not a lot of money, excuse me, pardon me.
yeah, and it's not a ton of money. But professionalism, what would you say?
6.
Okay, everybody okay with the 6? Capability? We do know she's been doing yoga for a while. So we can at least say that. But what do you think?
8.
All right, 8 for capability. Let's see, diverse revenue according to their percentages, look quite good, 7% is what they're asking for.
Does he
no
know they're gonna pay
report.
a whole bunch to come to it? Is that-
Yeah, I just
Okay, newness, it is new. Innovation,
Cebula's been doing yoga retreats for a while. I don't, I mean, theirs of course is a guarantee, but we can't have to stay at sea level when you go to their yoga retreat. But they do them now, they've been doing it for a while.
It's not an innovative idea for yoga retreats and have to for one.
I know, but not in.
No,
not
I'm-
in-
Here.
So what number? Eight. Everybody okay with that? Wonderful. Then we'll look at the outline. Credible circular vision.
This is
I can't
a
wait to
free
hear it.
service.
On Saturdays only for a while.
Yeah.
See how it works. That's been discussed and done.
So these are the people that just took over Big Bed by the Hotel and the old green room.
Yeah, this is Chris Herrera, who previously we funded the Trans-Pacific at the Ultra. He did this super long race. He organized that for many years. He's an kinesiology professor at the university.
He's now the associate dean.
There you go, now the assistant. Yeah, obviously an entrepreneurial spirit.
He also already has the Trans-Pacific Jeeps, he has 3 renegade Jeeps, they're parked at the Amtrak all the time.
Yes,
But is this gonna be an impact on?
that is the question for you guys right now.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
The existence of this,
I mean, it's a great idea. Try to do that in terms, but
Well, it has to have some kind of impact, otherwise the state law wouldn't allow transportation funding like this to be funded.
I'll be honest, we get a lot of people off the train.
That want a vehicle.
Yeah, and they ask, are there shuttles?
We
Is
do
there
too,
anybody-
tipsy taxi,
Yeah.
adding a daytime driver was like huge, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
so yes, transportation, the way the law is written, it's intended largely for shuttles with a hotel at one or the other or both ends of the route. And so that is legitimate legal expense. Now, that doesn't mean it has a big impact, but it obviously needs to have some. And so we could say the existence of it might encourage somebody who was thinking about coming in on the train to actually do it, and especially the Hollywood benefit, because you're right across the street from the depot. So,
People at Art Walk, at least at the hotel partner, they wanted transportation too.
Yep.
I mean, that was huge.
Yeah.
Like, we just get a shuttle.
Cowboy Poetry offers it because,
Yeah.
their client, their people want a ride.
so that's not a zero.
Yeah.
But the question for you then is, what do you think the kind of the number of people for whom that's the tipping point might be?
Maybe 5. Because it is a huge thing. I mean, people are out. It's a need. It is a
Yeah.
need.
We don't have Uber, Lyft anymore, not consistently. There's some guy that turns it on sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not really bringing people to the area.
Does anybody-
But
It is, keeping some people from coming here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
Right.
right. And it could make people stay even another day because, they don't have to. I'm good with the 7 or 8. Me too.
Okay, does anybody want to pick one or the other? You know, a 7 or an 8?
They,
I would really like to see it.
I'd like to,
All right, professionalism of the application. With the sound business and promotional plan. We have 110 on the table. An 8,
Yeah.
an 8 and a 10.
I love all the breakdown of the costs.
What do you think? 8. 8? Okay, you all right with an 8? Capability. For sure, we do know that he already a race and ran it for a while, we know that he's at least capable of closing on a contract for a hotel. We can continue.
I'd say they need to hire a lot more people if they're gonna do this too.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the vehicle?
Make sure the van has a big sign on the side that says City of Alpine.
Hang on a second, John, what was that?
I said, make sure the van has a ad on the side that says funded by the City of Alpine or something. This just doesn't seem, I have a lot of trouble with this one. I'm sorry.
Okay. But capability, we don't know, but best guess for a number.
6. I mean, I was feeling like an 8. It's just, I mean, yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah.
she knows
Yeah,
that.
that's-
Okay, so you guys, are you all okay with it? 8, all right. Diverse revenue. let's- Broke it out on different pages. Okay, it's around 60%. The total event cost, he says.
But it's also free service, right?
It says,
And limited to start with. You know, no.
But, what number you want to get for diversity at 60?
Right?
He's bad at 8.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's new.
It's
But-
new.
But it's gonna go over 8 on newness.
And nobody else has done it yet.
Okay, does it get a 10 on newness?
Yeah.
Okay, innovation.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Okay, thank you. Next is Alpine Christmas Stroll. This one is confusing. I'll tell you why I'm because she's asking for a whole lot of money, but she says the majority, so the city of Alpine, to purchase quality holiday decorations to accentuate and tell the story of our building.
Yeah, and I didn't like that about that, because boy, we need them bad.
Yeah.
they were so sad.
But-
I know. Not my visitors there. Yeah. What's the impact? I mean, I'm not gonna come and stay here for the Christmas one.
But you're not gonna come back and see them all.
If they were shabby.
Well, but she's promoting it as a 6 weeks of like Christmas in Alpine. And
So Thanksgiving.
Which is pretty.
actually from Art Walk till the end of the year. Like, because Art Walk is always wanting people to have their Christmas decorations up, and a lot of us don't make that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the idea being, once again, we've got a spectrum. If it's successful and enough critical mass of Christmas stuff that's of high enough quality for people to have a good experience, builds over time, like what is Galveston doing in Christmas, you know, with the Dickens on the Strand? You know, so there's the potential, obviously. We have to figure out, you know, our realistic best guess.
It speaks a lot to what the town thinks of itself. You've got stuff that the lights are on, the stuff is hanging down, you got shooting stars that don't look like stars anymore. I mean, it's just, you know, what are the.
So
You know,
along with the museum.
Yeah, well, they say just be the, and it just imparts a feeling, but yes, we have to look at that first. How many nights is it gonna get us?
I also think the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas is usually pretty dead. It really is.
It is.
After Art Walk, we don't have anything, not until the week after Christmas, between Christmas and New
So
Year's.
she's identified opportunity.
Yeah.
She's making a case.
She's also wanting to partner with John to promote it as a Christmas movie location, like with mountains and decorations and everything.
Yeah, now, one thing I would say, the calling Christmas decorations historical restoration and preservation, because you're associated with historic buildings is a stretch.
Yeah, especially if you're buying new ones.
I don't disagree that this is an appropriate expenditure for the city. This might not be the strategy that we can actually do it, but what do you guys think about impact of overnight stays?
If we're successful.
Between that wildly successful imagined future and where you think it might land?
Well, I think they should probably look at like why we're dead from Thanksgiving to Christmas, and it's because all the schools have to finish up their session. And so if people are traveling to Alpine as a family, they're waiting for those people to finish school anyway, no matter if there's decorations on the wall or not.
I don't know, I think that, I mean, most of our guests at Holland are, no, they don't have kids. They're usually older people.
Friendly.
It's really not, mostly older people. I will say we do usually see a slowdown though, and I've always kind of attributed it to a lot of people that want to travel around the holidays because they want to save money.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know if that's a fact.
I don't think it has an impact.
I mean, I'm willing to do it.
Okay,
Love to see it funded for
Yeah.
something else.
so we have a 4 on the table, it sounded like a 0.
I'll go with the forward.
Okay, John, what do you think?
You know, I think this is a fabulous event. Is it gonna make anyone stay in a hotel? That's a stretch. 3.
Tell me, that's a gigantic Christmas like that.
That is a 1.8 averaged out. Professionalism of the application. She certainly made a lot of slides.
Yeah, you're a kid.
Yeah, I would choose.
Capability, they've had the Christmas stroll, which as a community event, in fact, we won a Texas Travel Award for a community event last year for the Christmas stroll. And so Well, and honestly, let me just raise that question now, the Christmas decorations, because there's two things in the application, the decorations got a 1.8. But that neighborhood in walk up Sul Ross with the kind of progressive music and the lighting of the tree at the top of the university, that's a different thing. And probably more than a 1.8. What do you guys think?
People did come, I had some that came to that last year.
Now, it is gonna be the most attractive to locals, no question, but we do promote it, so it's not nothing, I just wanna.
It's also the same weekend as Mountain Country Christmas, so it's bringing,
Yeah, so
you've
we
got two
promote,
things at once. That's
yeah,
why
we-
she's saying like, promote Alpine as a whole with all these different.
If we
Christmas
get
things
to
to
do
do.
Alpine,
Just
yeah.
like we're saying, 4th of July, because we're cross promoting to bring people over to our thing after Fort Davis is over, so it's.
yeah, so we
kind of like
promote that weekend, Christmas in Alpine, and it's the parade, Mountain Country Christmas, and this Christmas evening.
And I would make art walk better, they turn my for my favorite.
Yeah. But what do you guys think about that weekend? We've got 1.8 for the decorations.
What weekend is it?
It's the first, yeah.
1.8.
Is there another budget in the city that we can,
I would love
Use
for.
the purchase.
That's something for the council to talk about. I'm
Yeah.
mainly asking what you guys think about Christmas in Alpine as the first Saturday. It's been happening for a long time. We've got the parade, we've got an evening event.
But it's all local event.
And
I don't get it, yes, but
it didn't change anything. Okay, so it's still 1.8. Capability to host and promote. Well, they can obviously host the event, because they've done it twice already.
But their claim is that they're gonna increase tourism by 150%.
For that time of year, yeah.
I don't think that's capable.
She does a pretty good job with, her PR firm, right?
She does. Let me say, the number of pitches and let's say swings and hits versus misses, because she's applied for some projects in the past that haven't happened at all. Now, she has done the Christmas stroll a couple of times.
But she never asked for money for it before. This is the first time she's asked for money for a business.
Okay, but capability, what do you guys think? That. 1.7.
She didn't think I could decoration.
I think there's no question that there would be a committee. So we have 5, 7. I'll do this.
Yeah.
Okay, all right with that?
I'm gonna vote no, giving $138,000.
Right, yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, we will have it. Now, she does say 60% of the total event costs.
I'm people should get some more. I would give donations to that if I received something in the mail or an ask, but. I mean, this is like for the town.
Does the city own the decorations on it?
Yeah, that's what she said, and it would not be hers.
Is that something that we can do with the good luck points? Would the city ask them?
We can, all I'm saying is that, historical is a real stretch. We could do a little bit if they were historic, if they were like themed appropriate to the period of the building or something, but it's really more arts, honestly, and we're not gonna have that kind of money.
Didn't Justin start their big light thing though with hot fund money? And then they built a big campaign around it. that
Yeah, but
justified
I don't
it.
think they have the same limitation on arts that we do.
I just didn't know which category they paid it out of. Obviously,
I'm
that's
sure.
not historic, so you think they
I'm
paid
sure.
arts or promotions because then they did an ad campaign?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so diverse revenue, 60%. What number you want to get that? Ooh.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Okay, we got a 2 here and a 4.
Yeah.
2 2s, 3 to 4.
Compromise.
Well, I would say that I think we've given for diversity, we've given 60% better on other others.
Yeah, we've been giving like an 8 to anyone that's like 6.
Any other country?
Yeah, and I think part of that's we're getting tired, and that's fair.
That's not great. That's fine.
Yeah, it is a ton of money, but are you guys okay with 4? 4. Split the difference on what we've done.
or
Okay, there's she has done a report on the Christmas stroll. New and innovative, the decoration or ideas, I mean,
Yeah.
but, okay, we want to say nothing on the new, what about innovative?
Not so far.
Okay.
Really.
I would argue that there's, her vision is innovative. You know, the picture she's painting, if she was successful in doing it and giving it 6 weeks of successful Christmas events, I mean, that's innovation, but.
So that's hopeful. I would just say, like, the town that I'm from in Louisiana, like, they literally had a Christmas festival. In the beginning, it was just one weekend. And it was a local thing, and now it's huge, and it's about 6 weeks, and like every hotel is booked up every weekend, and they do a big fireworks show every Saturday during, like, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, and yeah.
So I guess I'm just asking, is there a little more than zero on innovation?
Yeah.
But I think it's anti-innovation because this is supposed to be a dark sky reserve city, not.
There's
like
this
that.
allowance for holidays.
For
Yeah, it's
holidays.
written in there.
I understand that, but like,
It's like you can do your.
It's-
Well, it's also more about turning them off at 11 o'clock at night, not leaving them on all night long. That's the main thing. Is that they don't start their work till after that, so it's just the timer more than anything. Don't put it on from from dusk to dawn. And there's specific kind of light bulbs too that don't interfere with the service, so they're fine.
But we do have a 2 on the table instead of 0. You guys okay with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right, Alpine Events, which is another Granada Circle thing. And so this is to promote the events that are happening at the Granada out of town, to bring more people in for the things. They've got a pretty steady slate. And so they're looking to broaden the reach beyond the local to invite more out of town, especially on their larger events.
But he's got not applicable on, United States.
I think one of the things that I've been watching them, it looks like one of the things that they're really focusing on right now and hiring for is for a wedding planner. And they've been talking about advertising this Granada as like a wedding event location for people to come out west and have their wedding there. But that same wedding there. That's, there is like an uptick in weddings in this area.
I would question with that, I mean, that's true, there's, and people want to come out west and have their wedding, but like, we know if there's a wedding at the Fallen, that she's gonna have the rooms booked. We know if there's a wedding at Quarter Circle 7, that's part of the requirement, they book all the rooms, this is just hoping that they do that.
Okay, actually,
Right.
I'm looking at again, this Alpine Dot events, this is actually, I was wrong. This is not the one that's funding the Granada's events. This one is making a ticketing service.
Oh, yeah,
For
that's different.
events in the area. You see, his plan is to make something that's central. that
To
anything
event,
happening in the area, people could book, and so he'd be promoting,
Oh, the other one is Granada.
yeah, promoting the, basically this place to get your tickets for Alpine events.
No, but there's no impact on overnight stays.
Right, and that's just put money in his pocket.
Okay, so that's a 0 on overnight stays.
But he's advertising for all of the events happening.
No,
And
he's trying to get all the
That's
events
it.
to use his
Well, he
ticketing
says-
platform.
Right.
To advertise events in Alpine to potential visitors who would stay overnight. And so in that sense, he'd be advertising the events that are using those
Right.
tickets.
And what's that, people moved in and then like, what do you think it is events, like, right? Like, I don't see a need for that at all.
Okay, professionalism of the application. There. Okay, capability, he's certainly, I can tell you right now, he's a tech guy, he's certainly capable of building the system.
Go get it.
Great. there's a time.
But not.
Okay, and he looks like 55% is what he's looking for. So that is more diverse than the 4 we gave out in Christmas stroll. So what do you want to do? Okay. There's no report. Do you consider this new? Okay, do you consider it innovative?
For him.
Local payment master, right?
Yeah, big money. He'd be the gatekeeper, like, eventually.
Okay, Alpine Ghost Tour. This is an event they have had for some time, partnering with the University Theater Department. We have funded them for a couple of years now.
People go to it, I question how many stay in hotels for it, they don't go specifically for it. They go to it because they're,
And,
but they do it by their ticket in advance. That's like, but I think for local people buying the ticket in advance, maybe not reaching up.
I don't know, they estimate of the 250 maximum tickets, that's the big limitation, because it's a theatrical event that's on the street, only so many people could be at each one, and they only do it so many times a year. And so they estimate 200 of the 250 will use Alpine hotels when it goes through.
I like that they started local. I think that's a really smart idea for development purposes, and they're new. And now they're like at the stage where they're branching out to these larger cities. They want to advertise to the major cities. I think they're in the right trajectory to grow organically and stuff. But that's really,
The main limitation to growth is that availability of tickets. Because it's the theater department, there's not like a staff, I don't think they're gonna be.
I think the theater department growing as we speak, like they have these actors and they're investing in a larger theater program. Then if they're bringing more people, then they have more reason to hire more actors to participate in this activity.
What would really make it easier to put this on is if they didn't have to rely on Colorado actors and they could get local people to do it all the time. Like I always said that over and over again, if we didn't have to, because right now, like, they can't do it during spring break because people are gone. Like,
Yeah.
so they have to balance it with Sawross's
Right,
schedule.
just like in New Orleans, they just hire someone to train,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like a horseback guide or a river guide.
It's mainly the guide is the one that that you can't just train somebody to do. The other ones you probably could. If you take the tour, you see like he's the one that leads the whole thing and he is Sawross representative.
And so they're gonna do 4 to 6 weekends, which is more than they did last year. But so what do you think about the impact? I don't know what I said.
Maybe two. I agree. It's a nice thing to offer people that are already here. It was not fun, but that was, yeah. If we get local people that have experience in those buildings, that would be super fun.
Okay, professionalism? It's tight.
That wasn't good with the staff, it wasn't with presentation.
Yeah. We were getting credit.
Four people at the end.
Okay, so we have,
I'm gonna give them an 8 for.
okay, we have a 5, we have an 8.
7.
Okay. 5, 8, 7. John, what do you think?
You know, this is one very professional person. I'd give him a 10.
Okay,
And it's a great idea, I think, having gone on a couple myself and gotten scared to death.
okay. We got 7.2. What about capability? They have certainly done it. That's 10. Okay, let's see, versus revenue, there's for 40%. That's there. They did get a report. Newness, it's moderately new at this point.
They're 2 years in or 3?
They've done it 2 years ago. Yeah, this is for application.
8 then.
8, okay.
-1.
Innovative, I think it's certainly.
Innovative to outline.
Yeah. We don't have any other walking tours.
The
You're not
mural tour.
guided.
Not guided, I have nothing else guided. I would love a guided tour. But they do. Like to innovate.
Okay, 3 to go. Yeah, Lone Star Cowboy Boy Together. I would.
And on overnight.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Professionalism of the application.
Put 'em in.
Okay, capability, we have seen that.
Yeah.
They also added a Thursday night show. Chris and I just got the email right today.
They're asking for 24%.
That's awesome.
They did give a report. Newness, one thing I will say about newness, not that the event is new, but when the committee quit doing it and they had to start over again, one of the biggest reasons is not only was the committee aging, but they were concerned that their audience was aging out.
Yep.
This last year, 30% were there for the first.
First time.
Yeah.
When they asked that, the opening thing, the new promoter asked everybody and it was so many people this year. It was crazy awesome.
Yeah, I hear
They're scaring you.
people talking about it in Cholula.
Well, they've also integrated more music, which is gonna attract the crowd.
And the singer songwriter.
But that's the audience. The event is not particularly new. They're tweaking things as they go.
We call that image.
Yeah, somewhat,
You
but
consider new duty.
there you go.
Oh,
For
So
other
they're
people.
4 years probably.
Here for-
But what numbers do you want to give them? 6 for new? What about for
It's
innovation?
the new person that's been there.
Right. Okay, what about innovation?
I think they're constantly changing,
Evolving.
Yeah, they're evolving, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah, after 35 years.
Okay, theater of the Big Bend. Let's see. Now, there's been a lot of, I would say controversy, but disagreement over the years. They've done an excellent job of documenting the people who go to their performances that are out of town and do the survey. So they always can back up their requests with numbers. The hoteliers, this is back 2009, was the first time I interviewed all the hoteliers that did this. And across the board, they told me that they didn't believe anybody was coming for the plays, but absolutely agreed that people were going to the plays. And so, so a good percentage of the people here, and that's kind of like the museum, are taking advantage of this amenity here. And it is at night, like John mentioned about the fireworks. So if somebody decides they want to do it, then we're maybe likely as not to get an extra night out of it. That's a question mark, but so given all that, what do you guys think about the United States? 6, 7, okay, here we go. Okay, 7, 4, 6, 6, 7, 4. John, what do you think?
7.
Here, 7.
There's not a lot of performing arts or anything, it's that kind of thing around here, so it has a lot of potential to bring that
That's a
to.
5,
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Professionalism of the application,
9.
9, 9 or 10?
Yeah,
Which one would it be?
he said five.
Oh, you said 5, John?
He said
9.
9.
So we have a 9 and we have a 10. Okay. Capability, they're certainly done it for all time. And they're asking for, looks like 20% of their budget, no, 16.
Asking 40 grand for advertising.
Because they don't ask for promotion of the arts, they just shift their budget. They were smart because we have promotion money, but we don't, or we have advertising money, but we don't have promotion of the arts.
Yeah, they did give a support. The newish thing that they're doing is kind of shifting to the professional acting, rather than community and college.
Last year was an acting troupe, this year's a mix of local and people from out of town. So it's a little
Yeah, they're
bit.
trying to do kind of the repertory theater approach. That is newish, but what number you want to give them on newness?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Innovation.
7.
What was that?
7.
John?
I'll trump you one.
What about innovation? That idea of trying to,
That's it, yeah, I'm saying, they're.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
I
this year,
agree.
Improv, part of it's improv and audience gets to participate in it, so it's like a change on it.
okay. Well, we got that one done. One more.
Wait a minute. I want to say that this organization is woefully underfunded. And if they really get going, they'll fill the town up with people coming to watch the summer, event. So,
Yeah.
I
just a
agree.
comment from the old guy.
Okay, last one. Let's see which one it actually is. Oh, this is the weddings and non-music events.
Which one are we on? I lost my place when I gave my dog his after dinner treat.
This is the last one. It's the Alcove Granada Presents.
So they've been doing, I know they've had like a magic show, they had like
Thanks.
kind of acrobatics, you know, I mean, it's nice that they're having all these events, but I don't know that anyone's coming from out of town. I mean, it's mostly
Yeah.
local.
So this is specifically promoting Alpine as a wedding destination.
Oh, I just saw that,
I don't know, that's a big stretch on this story.
Yeah.
pay for talent and advertising is what it says.
But you don't know what you're gonna be looking, so how do you?
Yeah.
It's great, yeah. Not music events, what?
You like those magic
It's
shows?
gonna play magic shows and acrobatics.
Yeah, yeah.
And it shows comedian Blythe here and
It's great. I love what they're doing, but I don't know that it's bringing anyone. I mean, it's one of those things, it's a benefit to have it, you know, the more things that are going on, the more people are likely to come. So it has inherent value.
well, and honestly, the advertising piece is what makes the difference. Is any of these things enough to actually convince someone to come? We don't have. When, let's just say, Marfa, one wedding fills it everywhere.
Everything, yeah.
And so by film productions, if you bring a sizable wedding to town, that's absolutely an impact. Now, so then the question is, will they be successful? So there's the super successful, where there's unquestionably attend because they brought,
Does
8
it say
weddings.
how many it seats, the venue?
Well, like for a wedding, it's not 500, but like for a concert, it's 500,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I don't know for a wedding what they estimate. I would guess it's probably around the same as the Civic Center. Do 60 something if you've got all the chairs and everything. I don't know,
Yeah.
but.
I
I
don't
think
know
that,
that it's gonna be giant.
right,
There's one in Mark where Richmond was going
It's
with it.
very true.
Down
Right.
here.
and again, it's not the guarantee of like, you have your wedding at the gauge, you have to book every single room page. That's like a requirement of having a wedding. That's how they make their money, just like, you have somebody gets married there, they book almost every room in the hotel, right?
Yes.
But he suggests a single wedding party of 150 to 200 guests can secure a minimum of 100 rooms for at least 200.
If they all come about it back.
It's
Right, and they all stay in separate hotels.
200 guests.
Okay.
But if they're having a wedding here, that's,
But the wedding
it's
is.
because they have family here.
So much money for the town.
If he was going to like big wedding shows to promote it, then there's potential, but I don't know if that's like, things like that.
I think they're just doing digital.
Yeah.
Like in Texas. And I think like if they have like really beautiful pictures of a wedding in Alpine, it's gonna spread a positive light on Alpine in the eyes of all the viewers in Texas.
Yeah, and this is something like the remote work.
Yeah.
From my marketing perspective, I really like the idea of hitting markets we're not advertising. So a presence in these places has a promotional value to the city that I personally like.
Well, I think that but we're gonna talk about that like in the next meeting as far as where to actually give them the money they're asking for, right?
Exactly, and so that is not the same as like what I consider a reasonable promotional, as a part of our overall promotional palette, promotional venue that we're doing. Trying something out doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna work.
Still news.
It is all of that. And so, but for you guys, the question is still like between dramatically successful or maybe. What's your best guess about impact?
I'm higher.
Good.
Because
From,
Yeah, I gotta agree.
like I get so many people that are like, "Oh, you get married, but then
Yeah, they get married in July.
And a lot of them are apartments, we all had our.
Yeah.
Like,
because
yeah.
where else would you have a wedding? That's for the not.
I had mine in the Coconut Lodge that we already said we don't wanna fix.
We have 3 fours. What do you think? 4?
I don't think a lot, I think 7.
Okay. John, what do you think?
I've lost the audio for a second there. What one are we talking about?
We're trying to determine the potential impact, well, what we think is the likely impact on overnight stays for a promotion for the Granada as a wedding venue. Whether we think they'll be successful in bringing people to do a sizable destination wedding.
I think Alpine could be could be destination, but I don't know if it's just Alpine. I'd say 3.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think the Museum and Event Center has more
I think so, too.
opportunities.
I love the idea, by the way.
Cause it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I would agree.
By itself.
That makes
doing
me
that-
wanna get married.
Well, not everybody, but also the competing wedding venues, a lot of them are hotels.
Yeah,
And that's my question, is like, could a hotel get the same thing?
exactly. That was what I
Could
think.
we?
I
I
would say absolutely yes, and honestly, if you want to do a campaign to promote weddings, you can just talk to me. We can partner.
Okay.
There's also opportunities like when we get asked by Texas Travel for like different things, and that would be one of them that we could watch for, like they'll do different promotions and things.
Yeah, and that's something we'll talk with Cole and stuff.
Yeah, well, Bree actually brought it up
Cole will be
today.
Your problem.
No, it won't be my problem.
I said
Okay,
pull a whole list of things.
right, professionalism
They're
of
amazing.
the application. Right, you nudged it up by 0.3.
Give them a 9.
9,
Yeah.
okay, capability. To promote and host. Benefit of the doubt. Okay, 9,
I don't like that he's asking for gain. And that doesn't have to do with discussion, I just don't like that.
I have one thing.
I didn't want to
promoting everything. That's terrible. Sorry, I have more faith in them promoting internet computing.
right,
I mean, being outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, so where were we at? We had 9, but,
Yeah, they sold most of their equipment.
I know.
Yeah.
9.
okay.
7.
Uh-oh. We had some 9s.
I'm gonna say a 7.
Capability.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just go with 7 for easy
Okay.
math. Let's see, diversity. Looking for 50.94%. Which is diverse compared to what we've done.
Yeah.
But we'll put.
You guys would be having that by 6.
Okay, let's see, there is no report. This is new for our purposes, but
We can do that. I mean, everybody's been pushing wedding venues out here forever.
okay.
I don't think
so
it's
not
not
new.
new. Yeah.
Or new.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, you guys win. Okay, so what will happen now? Is there anything about any of these applications that you would like for me to ask anybody for more information to bring to you for the next step?
We wanted to be if he would consider a different date for the yoga retreat, if that would change things instead of March.
June or January?
Let's look at it, I didn't see these, but I got here.
Okay. Well, yeah, take the.
That might change the impact of that one, right?
Right, I missed the conversation about the motorcycle rally, the 3 that are like the same event in one.
Right, the first 2 are actually during the weekends of our walking people. And so we decided that they had no downstairs. And the motorcycle rally is something they have done in the past, but it has a modest potential. And what they're actually asking for money for is just a concert during the motorcycle rally.
Nobody else gonna come down there, the order down. Every night, I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah. Okay, so next time we'll, I'll kind of wait these a little bit and I'll get these back to you. And next time we'll work the actual dollars.
When is this
That's
meeting?
July 10th, not May, it's July.
And then we'll need a form then.
We will need a quorum for that because we'll have to vote at the end.
And you'll have the breakdown of how much to be awarded for things that work, based on the budget estimates.
Yeah, that's actually already on the, We had it for promotion of the arts, so we had it for fiscal.
Just because people are asking for so much.
That's right, we don't have to give them.
Yes.
Holy mackerel, folks, that was thorough.
Thank you guys so much.
Then we got them.
Good night.
I know, I.
Okay, how's it going? The recording. Again, tell Gio, we're done.
See, in there stuff. Turn it off over here. I just have to do something. I don't want to mess up the recording.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Sandra.